Hello, everybody. How we doing? Hello, Ashley. Hello, Vacant Zero. Hello, Catalina Gearbox. Hello, Malachi. Hello, Erica. Hello, Punky Gal. Hello, it's a Roro. Hello, Gamer G. Hello, Carl Marky Marks. Hello, Salmon Moose. Is this too soon? Considering they died, like, today or a couple days ago, maybe? Like, I don't know. If you have to ask if it's too soon, it's probably too soon. Hello, Nindreen. How we doing? How we doing, folks? Also, I agree, for what it's worth, Punky Gal, I agree with Erica. I was about to say Erica. RFK more hated than Trump? Patrick's time. I don't think RFK is more hated than Trump. He has, like, the highest likability ratings of any of the candidates. Hello, Who G. William. Over in YouTube chat. Too soon? I mean... No, but, like... Hey, Mithril Mist. All I'll say is, like, again, if you have to ask if it's too soon, the answer is yes. That being said, this was the best case scenario if they weren't, if the sub was still underwater. That what happened to them is the best case scenario. For those of you who haven't been paying attention, there was a submersible, underwater, and with 5 people going down into the Titanic, and got lost. There's a massive search effort that was underway, and they have since found the wreckage of the submersible near the Titanic. And what they believe happened was that, surprise, surprise, for a homemade submersible, an imperfection in the hull gave the immense amount of pressures active at that depth the ability to crush it almost instantaneously. I feel bad for the 19-year-old. Yeah, same. You know? Apparently he didn't even want to go. He was just trying to go to, like, be supportive to his dad's, like, special interest. 700 odd refugees who capsized no one cares about, though. True. True. I mean, how many refugees have died, like, trying to get across the Mediterranean? Yeah, according to estimations, over 5,000 refugees have lost their lives in the attempt to reach the European shores in just 2016. So, yeah, I mean, literally thousands of people trying to get into Europe every year die in the Mediterranean, you know? Fewer than have been killed on our shores? I mean, maybe? One organization estimates that 29,000 deaths have occurred from people trying to flee instability in their countries to get to Europe. Let's cover the dumb fuck billionaire instead. Well, I mean, there's not that much more to cover, guys. Like it got crumpled like a tin can. Really, all that's left is to be like, haha.
I'd like to be remembered as an innovator. I think it was General MacArthur said, "You're remembered for the rules you break." And you know, I've broken some rules to make this. I think I've broken them with logic and good engineering behind me. The carbon fiber and titanium. There's a rule you don't do that. Well, I did. It's picked.
Yeah. Well, I think we reached a certain level of fuck around and find out. It's just unfortunate that this greedy son of a bitch killed 4 other people along with himself. Yeah, that was Stockton Rush, CEO of the company that made the Titan submersible. Yeah, he innovated a new way to Roblox himself, I guess. Just real quick.
James Cameron, another person closely familiar with the Titanic, is the director, James Cameron himself, along with his Oscar-winning movie. Mr. Cameron, I understand you've made a number of dives to the wreckage site, too. Just give us your sense on what you're feeling right now, looking at these images of the shipwreck that you studied so closely, and now hearing that another tragedy has been tied to the same area.
Well, I've been down there many times.
Elon's not going to follow him. I do think it would be extraordinarily funny if Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg did their cage match. Because apparently that's a thing that is currently in the works. If that does wind up happening, it'd be very funny if Mark Zuckerberg accidentally killed Elon Musk.
Times I know the wreck site very well, as does my friend Bob Ballard. I've made 33 dives. I actually calculated that I've spent more time on the ship than the captain
Hey, Felicity.
did back in the day. And of course, you know, as a submersible designer myself, I designed and built a sub
Spectral
to go
Baer.
to the deepest place in the ocean, 3 times deeper than Titanic. So I understand the engineering problems associated with building this type of vehicle and all the safety protocols.
Nothing
that you have to go
good
through.
comes out of Everett.
And
Why's that?
I think that what Bob said, because I was watching, is absolutely critical for people to really get the take-home message from this, from our effort here, is deep submergence diving is a mature art. From the early 60s, where there were, you know, a few accidents, nobody was killed in the deep submergence, until now, is more time.
Yeah, but why do they say nothing good comes out of Everett?
Time than between Kitty Hawk and the flight of the first 747. So if we haven't improved over that period of time, we have improved drastically over that period of time, and the certification protocols that all other deep submergence vehicles except this one.
Hey, Manwich Cannon.
Passengers, especially paying passengers, all over the world in tropical waters.
Well, I think the real message is, if you are gonna go to see the Titanic in a Pringles can, make sure that Pringles can is like field tested by NASA to the fullest possible extent.
Deep coral reefs, other wreck sites, and so on. The safety record is the gold standard. Absolutely. Not only no fatalities, but no major incidents requiring all of these assets to converge to a site.
Typically only meth and other hard drugs coming out of there.
That we've
Gotcha.
all lived with, you know, since all of us entered this field of deep exploration. We live with it in the back of our minds. But because implosion, as Bob described it, such a violent event, is first and foremost in our minds, the pressure boundary, which is what they call the hull of the sub, that the people go inside, is obviously first and foremost in our minds as engineers. And we spend so much time and energy on that. And we use all the computerized tools available today, finite element analysis. We worked on our sphere for our deep vehicle that went to the Challenger Deep for over 3 years just in the computer before we even made the thing. And then, of course, we pressure tested it over and over and over, and so on. So, this is a mature art, and many people in the community were very concerned about this sub, and a number of the top players in the deep submergence engineering community even wrote letters to the company.
Also, don't fire the guy who's in charge of like product safety at your deep sea submersible tourism company,
saying that what they were doing was too experimental to carry passengers and that needed to be certified. And
literally the first guy who came to him was like, "Hey, I think this might not be safe." He was just like, "You have 10 minutes." Like, just immediately, "You have 10 minutes to vacate the premises."
and so on. So I'm struck by
Damn.
the similarity of the Titanic disaster itself, where the captain was repeatedly warned about ice ahead of his ship, and yet he steamed at full speed into an ice field on a moonless night, and many people died as a result. And for a very similar tragedy where warnings went unheeded to take place at the same exact site, with all the diving that's going on all around the world, I think it's just astonishing. It's really quite surreal. And of course, P.H. Nargeolet, the French legendary submersible dive pilot, a friend of mine. It's a very small community. I've known PH for 25 years. For him to have died tragically.
Aw.
You want to contact the Navy if you want to make a sub.
There are people outside of the Navy, but the Navy's got some expertise, to be sure. But when it comes to like going as deep as they're going here, like most Navy submarines are not going. They're going like 1/10 the depth, you know. Go woke, go boom. Wait. His wokeness cared more about what the people looked like, not hiring the best. You know that like there are qualified people of all racial backgrounds, right? That apply for like engineering jobs. Like you know that. Or do you think only white people are good at things? Just out of curiosity, do you think only white people could build a submarine? Patrick's time? Because you're alleging like essentially that well, they overlooked more talented white people in order to hire subpar people of color at this job. That seems to be a big claim based on no evidence at all. The guy he fired was over 50 and white, and people get fired who are white every day. He wasn't fired because he was white. He was fired because he was criticizing something that was core to the company's business model and would cost them a lot of money to fix. That's why he was fired. Him being white had nothing to do with it. The company he worked for was just full of greedy motherfuckers who wanted to put the submersible in the water and start charging those $250,000 dive fees. Like, where are you getting that he was fired because of diversity quotas? In an interview, he said didn't want to hire any experienced 50-year-old white guys because they weren't inspirational. And he clearly had hired 50-year-old white guys. He was a 50-year-old white guy. What are you talking about? What actually, what are you talking about? Right? Are you alleging that there was a massive conspiracy at this company to design the world's shittiest submersible, and the reason it was so shitty was because they hired black people? That's essentially what you're saying, right? He fired a white guy at 50 who warned him of safety concerns. Yeah. But he didn't fire him because he was white and over 50. They fired him for bringing up safety concerns. Do you not understand that? They didn't just be like, well, this guy has brought up some really pivotal safety concerns regarding the submersible. Oh, really? What race is he? Sir? What race is he? Is he white? Fire him! Like, what are you talking about? That's fucking insane. Patrick's time. The thing you think happened in this case is fucking insane. The amount of things you have to believe in order to arrive at the conclusion you have is insane. And all the others weren't smart enough to figure it out? Well, all the others saw that the guy who brought up the safety concern was fired. So it's probably less that they weren't able to figure it out, and more so that, well, they got the message of firing the one employee who brought up the safety concerns. What is it about the North Atlantic that feeds men's hubris? Who knows? But yeah, Patrick's time, yeah, 100%. Only old white engineers would have been able to figure out structural integrity issues. Yeah, yeah, my ideology is the real problem here. You fucking white supremacist piece of shit. So, you know, as a Navy veteran, in case you don't get it, chat, the ocean cannon will kill you. Yeah. Basically, everything in Mother Nature is designed to kill you. I can't, guys. Like, whenever anyone's like, oh, look, the diversity quota's got these people killed. Go woke, go boom. Like, that, it's just clown shit. It's just racist clown shit. What dipshittery did I miss? Just someone claiming that the reason the submersible imploded was because Ocean Gate cared more about having non-white employees than they did about having talented employees. Nature loves killing peeps, indeed. They didn't go boom anyhow, exactly the opposite, indeed. Fucking what? Yeah, well, you see, Lady Raincloud, only a pristine white mind would have been able to devise a submarine that didn't implode. Apparently. People are strange. Nah, people are just fucking racist, dude.
In this way is
But, you know, like, it's... Let's take a moment. I think that conversation was emblematic of, like, what I was talking about yesterday with conspiracy theories, right? Like, they don't need to have any actual piece of information as long as they have the conspiracy theory that information can appear to fit onto, right? The conspiracy in this case is that the left wants diversity more than it wants talent, and therefore diversity programs deliberately overlook talented white individuals in order to hire minority individuals in the field. And the conspiracy theory is that this is, you know, to weaken America for a variety of, you know, probably JQ-related reasons. And on top of that, it's all based on assumptions. You don't actually have to know anything about the topic that you're talking about the employees that you're talking about, you're just like, oh, they fired a 50-year-old white guy. Okay, yeah, this is that diversity, equity, and inclusion at work. Because that's part of the conspiracy theory, is that DEI programs are secretly weakening American corporations, you know? It's a fucking joke. It's a joke that racists or people who already had quite strong racial bias fall for. Well, so again, like Spectral Pyre, it's the same. Like, to them, right? They think that the real racism is the liberal conspiracy theory. You know, they think that the real racism is the discrimination against white men every time like a white guy gets fired, because they see white guys get fired a lot more often because their social circles are primarily white, and so this conspiracy theory keeps getting reinforced over and over and over again to them because of the media bubbles they live in and the social circles they live in, and to them it gets flipped on its head. You see, they aren't the ones being racist. They are the ones who are being discriminated against. They're just talking about the reality. You know? That's why racism is so appealing to mediocre white people. It's not that they are unremarkable and not talented. It's because they're white. It's egotistical and dumb as fuck. I mean, it's dumb as fuck, for sure. But I think it appeals to isolated pockets of the American population, you know? Like, it's hard to escape those bubbles when everyone you know is white, you know? It's hard to escape that bubble when all of your media is filtered from that conservative conspiratorial lens, you know? And so they get victimized to a certain degree by these deliberately curated narratives. The whole cisgender is a slur thing is also this. True. True, Stadman. Hey, VCC TV. Also, hey, Zoop. I had to cut off an IRL friend who's super engrossed in that bubble. I should have taken the red flags more seriously. Yeah. This is why diversity is important. True. Because, chat, guess what? Diversity is good because there's almost always, 99.999% of the time, there is going to be a talented individual of a non-white category or minority individual who can do the same job, right? The reason that there are affirmative action programs and DEI programs is to ensure that the workplace is diverse, because that has a number of knock-on effects throughout the company. One being that their pool of talent gets larger as like minority candidates apply for jobs there, so they have more talent to choose from. And additionally, they also have more experiences to draw upon. You know, it's the thing with Silicon Valley, where like Silicon Valley tech startups would like design like motion sensors for like lighting systems or whatever, but like everyone who worked there would be white, and so it wouldn't work when like a black person walked in the room. Like, that's the kind of oversight that happens when you don't have diverse programs, right? And it's the same thing with Tesla Auto Drive also, where like the Tesla auto driving features do not detect darker skinned people. So like those are examples of how like not having diverse teams can absolutely destroy a product's viability. It can have a lot of direct impacts on the company's bottom line, but then there are the indirect ones as well. Yeah, seatbelts don't work as well for women. There's a lot of different examples, you know? Or how photochemical film literally just couldn't capture black people very well for a very long time. Yeah. Yeah. I forgot Tesla had that little issue. Yep. But yeah, this is why it's really important to have diversity. It's because the different experiences help catch weaknesses and flaws in a product or part of the professional environment, you know? Wait, Nindreen, Elon Musk personally designed the auto drive system? That's fucking funny.
Is almost impossible for me to process.
It is certainly haunting to consider that comparison to the Titanic and what happened to the 5 people on board this submersible vehicle. James, I want to ask you, though, since you've been down on these dive missions before.
Oh no, Malachi, I'm so sorry that you're a tall Chad. No, the horror.
We talked about the safety risks. We've reported on the fact that the people on board signed waivers. They knew that this was dangerous and that there weren't very many other vehicles that could come get them out if something goes wrong. How aware were you of those concerns and those risks before you went down? And is there anything that should be done when it comes to safety in the future?
Look, it's comparing apples and oranges here. I went with a very proven system when I dove at Titanic with the Russian submersibles. They used very well understood design methodologies, and they had an excellent operating record when I dove with them, and they continued to have an excellent operating record, flawless operating record throughout their entire career. I think they're now retired. But I always had.
Wasn't there also some weird shit that happened while he was shooting the Titanic? I swear these people at the time coming up with conspiracy theories and calling it the Titanic cursed. I don't remember hearing about that, Stadman, but I also don't. I don't care that much about the Titanic.
Had great confidence. Now, having said that, I always had confidence in the sub. The Titanic wreck site is a very hostile place. It's a dangerous site
Hey,
to
Priscilla.
dive. If you think of a typical research dive, you go down and you're really just operating over a bottom. You may be looking for,
as many tops can attest,
organisms. You may be looking at geology. Hydrothermal vent sites can be a bit dangerous as well. But Titanic, you've got this 8-story, 10-story high structure with overhanging metal structures. It's a twisted mess. You can get entangled. And entanglement was always a concern of ours, but we dove with a 2-sub system. We always felt confident that if one of the subs got ensnared, you'd still have communication, you'd still have life support, you'd still have power, you'd have another sub there that could help you manage the problem. We always felt that we were on pretty safe ground. This sub had no back.
Yeah, it sounds like every step of the way for James Cameron, they had redundancies upon redundancies in case things went wrong. And in this Ocean Gate case, they had like none. They had like none at all.
Backup. It didn't have a lot of backup systems, from what I understand, and it was predicated on what I think of as a fundamentally flawed design principle, which is a carbon fiber hull. Which, when I first heard about a move toward composite hulls, and this was many years ago, even when I was designing my sub, there was another sub that was in competition with us to get to the Challenger Deep, that was operated by a guy named Chris Welsh for Richard Branson, and they had a composite hull. And I told those guys, I said, somebody's going to get killed in that sub or in a sub like it, and the DNA of the Ocean Gate sub was in that sub at the time. 2 hemispherical end caps and a carbon fiber cylinder in the center. And I never believed in that, because the way it fails is it delaminates, because you have to have a hull, a pressure hull made out of a contiguous material like steel or like titanium, which is the proven standard, or like acrylic. I have a small equity stake in I think one of the best submersible companies in the world, Triton Submersibles, and they use acrylic for their hulls. But once again, it's a contiguous material, so you can do computer modeling to see how it'll behave. But this Ocean Gate sub had sensors on the inside of the hull to give them a warning when it was starting to crack. And I think if that's your idea of safety, then you're doing it wrong. And they probably had warning that their hull was starting to delaminate.
Yeah, we went over this, right? Yesterday. The safety the head of safety for Ocean Gate said that they would likely only have milliseconds of warning ahead of time, you know? Like milliseconds of warning. You'd hear like half a beep and then be dead, you know?
And starting to crack. Because as Bob pointed out, it's our belief, we understand from inside the community.
Also, like once carbon fiber starts to crack, guys, like it's all Jover, you know? Like once it's cracked, you're done. Like the crack is all that is needed for the crushing weight of the ocean to like bear down upon you, you know? Yeah, exactly. What's the point of an alarm in that situation? It's not just gonna like leak in, it's just gonna
that they had dropped their ascent weights and they were coming up
yeah,
trying to manage an
VCCTV.
emergency.
Like all indication is that this thing crumpled instantaneously, you know?
And to your point, a warning only goes so far when you have the ability to get back to the surface, or there's a backup vehicle there to come help you out of a bad situation. James Cameron, thank you so much for your time. I would like to bring Bob Ballard back in while we still have him on the line here, because Bob, I understand the wreckage of the Titanic here. It's not going to last forever. What more can we learn, should we learn about that shipwreck, and what can we do as we continue to explore this space in the
And yeah, Hotez is smart not to debate RFK Jr. It's just not going to come off visually very well for him, debating a lawyer whose job it is to debate. And, like, regardless of if he has all the correct information, it doesn't matter if someone is rhetorically effective.
The ocean.
Well, the Titanic's bow went deep in. The anchor you were just showing is almost touching the sediment, so it went far in. And what we've learned about the deep sea is as soon as you go in a couple centimeters, it's anoxic. So when we were down, we could literally scrape away the mud and you see a brand new hull. So the Titanic's bow is literally being held together by the fact that it's deep into the mud. And we all
What?
have different views. I think the Titanic, the main hull and those main pieces will be there for a long, long time.
Yep. So that's the situation there. How we doing, folks? He was an uninspiring 50-year-old white guy who was just trying to keep people alive. Yeah, 100%, you know? But also, he wasn't fired for being an uninspiring 50-year-old white guy. He was fired for bringing up safety concerns that would cost the company a lot of money to delay operations and do additional testing. So instead of actually addressing his concerns, they fired him instantly. You know? The Navy also apparently heard the implosion. Yeah. You think he's uninspiring? I don't. I was reading the quote you used. Frankly, I don't know if he's inspiring or not. I just know he was right about to raise safety concerns for a submersible. Oh, God. And now their existence is in question? I mean, I don't know if their existence is in question. They found some wreckage on the bottom of the sea. They're goners, baby. Just gone, baby, gone. Hope the CEO rethought that HR choice as he was crushed to death. Yeah, I don't know if they actually had time to think anything about being crushed to death, you know? Hey T-Pain, they fired the no man, all those yes men get you as a sea burial. True. But then again, most billionaires fire anyone who opposes their view. Exactly, T-Pain. Like this, it's why the end result of like capital accumulation leans towards just fascist death cults. In my opinion, I don't have like a fully thought out theory on that, but like at a certain point when you fire all of the people who keep you tethered to reality, and you just follow the money, I think you've effectively become a death cult. They also think that they're invincible, but everyone else is disposable, you know? I was like, hey, so our restaurant is both disgusting and dangerously falling apart. And they were like, so you don't want to work, right? Yeah, 100%, you know? Kitchen floor was concave? Holy shit. How we doing, folks? Also, thank you to Vlaki, Cool Trainer, and Ghost Girl Abby for hitting the follow button. I really appreciate that over on Twitch. And folks, if you are enjoying the stream on riverboat.gg or YouTube, I do hope that you will hit the subscribe button and also hit the like button on the stream, because both of those things help us out so much to grow the YouTube channel. Hey Fish Missile, how you doing? Little blanky peepo. I love him. Additionally, folks, if you're enjoying the show so far, please do drop some subs and donos, because that is primarily what allows me to continue to live, to persevere in an otherwise hostile world. Additionally, one second. Folks, the first episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds has dropped on YouTube, and or season 2 rather has dropped on YouTube. So if we get 40 subs on today's stream, we will watch the first episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds season 2 together. I don't know why Paramount Plus is blessing us for free on YouTube like this, but you know what? I'm willing to be here for it. Help Jack not implode under the crushing mass of capitalism. Yeah. Also, come on over to riverboat.gg. You can be in the on-screen chat here, and your subs and donos literally count for more. I get to keep 100% of them here.
Happy birthday, BWAHAHAHAHAHAHAHA.
Thank you so. Why did it read it like that? Why did it read blah ha 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 like that? It usually reads it all out instead of just saying the words. Why? A lot of apples. Thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. You beautiful, beautiful bean, you. Oh yeah, Nindreen, you were unsubbed. Why didn't it work? I have no idea. It reads it differently every time. I was? You were. You didn't have a little star next to your name. A big thank you to Catalina Gearbox and Lotta Apples, the only people supporting stream today so far. The rest of you, during Pride Month, I'm very disappointed in you for being so transphobic. Hotez was wrong about so much. Yeah, the dude who saved 500 million children from infectious diseases in Africa and Latin America really doesn't know his stuff. Yeah. Yeah, you know who really should be in charge of vaccinating people in Africa and Latin America? Some dipshit podcaster. Yeah, 100%. You're correct on that one. Or the guy who thinks Wi-Fi causes fucking cancer. Yeah. Those guys should definitely be in charge of vaccination efforts. I'm sure they would save equal numbers of children from long and happy lives. Totally don't know, but lost my job about a week ago. Oh, Spectral Pyre, I'm sorry. But you can also share the stream on social media. Oh,
Level up time.
Nindrian, thank you for the tier 4 sub. I really appreciate that. So chat, I got a question. Do. Still taking the boosters? Yeah. You do know that the reason booster shots exist or like yearly flu shots exist is because viruses change? Like they evolve? And the vaccinations need to evolve along with the way diseases change? Because if they don't, then the vaccinations don't do much, if anything. This discourse will never end. Well, it will never end because the people who are advocating for like vaccine denialism like just think that vaccines like cause autism and shit. Exactly, they don't do much. We've literally eliminated diseases in the past because of vaccination. Hey, off time over in YouTube chat. How about you spend a couple months in an iron lung and see if that changes your perspective on vaccination. Just spend a couple months in an iron lung, pretending to be having polio, dude. Tier 4 counts as 8 subs. I can't do math, but I'll take your word for it. There will always be stupid people. It's true. Oh, wait. We're at 10. There we go. See, I can't do math. I can't be trusted. Here, you know what? At the risk of being DMCA'd, one of my favorite scenes from television of all time.
Asterisk Ashley J. Curtis asterisk gifted asterisk
Yo!
10 tier 1 asterisk subscriptions.
Ashley, thank you for the 10 gifted tier 1 subs. I really appreciate that. God damn, Ashley, thank you. And now I get to share one of my all-time favorite scenes of television with you guys to make fun of a chatter, no less. Off time, this is you right now, okay?
Stand here, present some egghead scientific argument based on fact. I'm just a regular dude. I like to drink beer, you know? I love my family. Rock, flag, and eagle, right, Charlie? He's got a point. No, he doesn't. What? See, Charlie? These liberals are trying to assassinate my character. I can't change their minds. I won't change my mind, because I don't have to. Because I'm an American. I won't change my mind on anything, regardless of the facts that are set out before me. I'm dug in, and I'll never change.
Mac, you're wasting our time. You're not going to get us to not believe in evolution.
And why is that?
Because the smartest scientists in the entire world all agree that it's real.
I'm glad you brought that up. Because, Mr. Reynolds, science is a liar sometimes.
Oh, boy.
This is Aristotle. Thought to be the smartest man on the planet. He believed that the Earth was the center of the universe, and everybody believed him because he was so smart. Until another smartest guy came around, Galileo, and he disproved that theory, making Aristotle and everybody
Gotta
else on
one up
Earth.
Ashley.
Then Android, holy shit. Thank you for the 11 tier 1 subs. Oh, goddamn. Thank you very, very much.
Look like a
Bitch.
Of course, Galileo then thought comets were an optical illusion, and there's no way that the moon could cause the ocean's tides. Everybody believed that because he was so smart. He was also wrong, making him and everyone else on Earth look like a bitch again. And then, best of all, Sir Isaac Newton gets born and blows everybody's nips off with his big brains. Of course, he also thought he could turn metal into gold and died eating mercury, making him yet another stupid bitch. Are you seeing a pattern?
No.
Mr. Reynolds, these were all the smartest scientists on the planet. Only problem is, they kept being wrong.
Sometimes. This is literally making fun of you off time. I hope you understand that your anti-intellectualism, your anti-science takes, because science is a liar sometimes, is silly and stupid, and everyone around you knows it, because you're basically taking your health advice from, like, the guy down at the hardware store, instead of, like, you know, a medical doctor. Well, you know, my uncle just said put some Windex on it, so, we don't need to go to the doctor for a sprained ankle, Timmy. Science is never settled. You're right, which is why we should never have any public policy regarding scientific findings. You're right. We should just not include any science whatsoever in public policy. You know, next time the Black Death comes around, just let chaos reign. You know, sure, like, people might have to be bricked up inside of their homes because, you know, the Podunk County next door has people dying by the hundreds, but, you know, whatever. It's fine. Ivermectin is used by humans more than horses. Yeah, to treat fucking malaria! Do you take aspirin? Do you take aspirin for a brain tumor? You dipshit? No! No! You take chemotherapy! You take so many other things! People take one medicine! That's not evidence of why you should take that medicine for a different condition! You fucking moron! God damn it. God damn it. Yeah! Do you know that antivirals don't treat every viral infection? Are you serious right now? Did you just come in here to like fucking jack off? Is this like some kind of fetish that I'm participating in? What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, it's a fucking antiviral for malaria, not for other things. Jesus Christ. Jesus fucking Christ. Oh yeah, my medicine said it was antifungal, so it will work on every fungal infection. No, it won't! You guys, yeah, you can ban that. You can ban that. I don't have the energy for fucking ivermectin debates. I've had enough of those. I've done enough of those. I looked at the science already, and you're all full of horse crap, along with horse tranquilizers. Oh wait, ivermectin. That's right. Ivermectin isn't even an antiviral. It's for parasites. Jesus Christ. No. Jesus fuck. It's for worms, yeah. You know, I've had 10 COVID boosters now. I can basically just magneto my keys across the room. It's actually pretty cool. Unfortunately, the ivermectin is not effective against the brain worms all of these people are infected with. Science is a liar sometimes. Imagine watching that and not realizing it's making fun of how stupid you are. God. Okay. Also, we need to update the count. We are currently 9 subs away from watching Star Trek. You guys absolutely annihilated this. I don't get enough boosters to get reliable 5G service. What a ripoff. Jack is a Wi-Fi hotspot. That's why everyone around me gets cancer, according to RFK Jr. Honestly, I wish that the Joe Rogan audience would listen more to RFK Jr. because maybe they'd all turn off their Wi-Fi and log off, and the world, I think, would be a lot better for it. Oh, God. Does that mean we're switching over to Twitch? If we get to Star Trek, yeah. But before that, we're gonna watch this interview between Donald Trump and Brett Baer that I've been hearing a lot about. I haven't watched any of it, but apparently Brett Baer is feeling the pressure from the Dominion lawsuits, and Smartmatic lawsuits, because well, I don't know if it was his intention or not, but he accidentally turned a softball interview for Trump into Donald Trump confessing to crimes on television interview. Hey, Avalon of Babylon. I'm doing better than I was doing yesterday. Yesterday was a bad brain day. Today's good. I'm still a bit slow, but I think by tomorrow I'll be full of vim and vigor. Let's take a watch.
Welcome to Special Report. I'm Brett Baer. We're coming to you tonight from Bedminster, New Jersey, the summer home of the 45th President of the United States, the leading candidate in the
I know it shouldn't surprise me anymore. Just real quick, like
the summer home of.
This is what how a billionaire decorates his home? Are you fucking kidding me? It looks so tacky. It looks so tacky, dude. I know this isn't new to anybody, but like, holy moly, dudes.
The 45th President of the United States, the leading candidate in the GOP nomination battle, Donald J. Trump. We'll talk to the former president extensively about all issues in just a minute. But first, the other headlines today. A rescue mission is underway to result in I've interviewed this year, and that is this. What do you think is the most important issue facing the country right now?
So many, so important, but we have to straighten out the economy. We're going to do that through inflation. We have to straighten out our border where we have millions of people pouring in, and we're going to do that very quickly. I had the safest border in the history of our country, and now we have the most unsafe, I think, anywhere in the world. There's never been anything like it. We have to strengthen up our military, giving $85 billion to Afghanistan didn't exactly help, but we have to strengthen up our military, get the woke out of our military, and basically respect all over the world. We don't have it anymore. We had tremendous respect 3 years ago. We don't have respect anymore. They don't listen to us. They don't care about us.
No respect at all.
They just don't do what we want them to do and what they have to do, especially since we make life very good for many countries, and we have to get that respect back. And if we don't, we've got some big problems.
We asked viewers to send in questions on social media. We had a ton of responses. Here's one of them. Erica tweets this. What is the first thing you will do to turn this country around if you get elected?
Well, I do two simultaneously. I'd start drilling. We have the most liquid gold under our feet, oil, than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia. And that's going to bring down the pressure on inflation. And we're going to have very little inflation very soon. We had virtually none when I was president. And second, I'd close up the border, because we can't have prisoners and people from mental institutions coming into our country. They're emptying out from all over the world, not just from the 3 or 4 countries we talk about, the neighboring countries all over the world. They're coming into our country at levels that nobody's ever seen before, Brett, and we have to stop it. And they are emptying out their prisons, and they're emptying out their mental institutions and insane asylums into the U.S., and we're not a dumping ground. I would stop it immediately and get a lot of the bad ones out. We'd get them out very quickly.
Fox viewers were able to watch your speech here at Bedminster.
They want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom.
The day of your arrest and
Can you believe it?
federal
Arrest by my opponent.
appearance in federal court in Miami,
Right.
and your explanation of the Presidential Records Act and your defense, how you and others believe that that applies here. Obviously, you know, other legal experts, your Attorney General Bill Barr, they do not think that that applies to handling classified national security and defense materials. But that legal battle aside, I just want to ask you a couple of specifics. Why did you have this very sensitive national
Oh no, that's too specific, Brett.
security defense documents, like the war plans for a strike on Iran?
So like every other president, I take things out. And in my case, I took it out pretty much in a hurry, but people packed
Jesus
it up
Christ.
and we left. And I had clothing in there. I had all sorts of personal items in there, much stuff. And by the way, when Bill Barr, who's...
I would give so much never to hear Donald Trump say I took it out. Will Biden do any appearances? Would love to see Biden talk for 30 minutes. I mean, I don't know if Biden's going to make an appearance during a interview with Donald Trump.
you know, a coward. Bill Barr was a coward. Bill Barr didn't do what he was supposed to do. I fired him, and he has great hatred.
Vegan
and that's
for the
okay, 'cause some
memes.
people do.
I can't see your links if you're linking them over in Twitch chat.
And some people love me very much. He didn't resign. I asked him, give me a letter immediately, because he didn't have the courage to go after so many different things, and you and I have discussed it before. But he was a coward. And he obviously doesn't like me too much, and there are a lot of people that don't, and there are a lot of people that feel just the opposite.
But on the specific on the
let me just
documents.
explain.
Yeah.
So I've had a lot of things in there. I will go through those boxes. I have to go through those boxes. I take out personal things. As far as the levels and all,
a lot of
everything was
personal
declassified because
boxes.
I had the right to declassify. You want to talk about a mess? Take a look at Biden, where he's got 1,850 boxes. He has boxes stored in Chinatown in D.C. He has boxes stored at Penn Center, and he has boxes under his Corvette
There were a lot of boxes,
and around his
folks.
Corvette, sitting in a garage for years, where it was very seriously.
We need Sleepy Joe out of the office. Nindreen, we don't have to ban someone for just saying we need to get Sleepy Joe out of the office. That's fine. That's fine. I ultimately agree. I would like Joe Biden to not be in office, just maybe not in the 2024 election alternatives.
Classified. I have every right to have those boxes. This is purely a Presidential Records Act. This is not a criminal thing.
However, you can ban people praising Joseph Stalin. That's fine.
In fact, the New York Times of all had a story just the other day that the only way NARA could ever get this stuff, this back, would be please, 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 could we have it back?
And they
please,
asked for that.
because they have no. We
They
were
did
talking.
ask for it.
No, and
they said,
I gave
"Can you
them
give the
some,
documents back?"
and we were talking,
And then they said they went to DOJ to subpoena you to get them
which
back.
they've never done before.
Right.
And in
But
all
why not
fairness,
just hand them over then?
Because I had boxes. I want to go through the boxes and get all my personal things out. I don't want to hand
Look, no one else can go through the boxes, even though I declassified all of the information. I declassified all of the information in the boxes, but I wanted to go through them all myself for no compelling reason. I just wanted to go through the boxes alone. Yeah, sometimes a man needs some time alone with his precious boxes. You know how it goes, Brett. You know how it goes.
that over to NARA yet. And I was very busy, as you've sort of seen.
Yeah, but
I've been
according to
very,
the
very
indictment,
busy.
Oh, yeah, you know, he was just too busy, you know? He was just too busy throwing parties while they were on a fucking stage in front of the partygoers, you know? He was just too busy. He was too busy to comply with the fucking government wanting its secrets back.
you then tell this aide to move to other locations after telling your lawyers to say you'd fully complied with the subpoena when you hadn't.
But before I send boxes over, I have to take all of my things out. These boxes were interspersed with all sorts of things. Golf shirts, clothing, pants, shoes.
You know, things that I, a very busy and important man, needed to take care of myself. For reasons.
There were many things. I would say
Iran war
much more, not that I know of, but everything was declassified. And Biden didn't have the right to do that because he wasn't president. Nor did Mike Pence, by the way, have the right to do that because he wasn't president.
All right, I'm not going to belabor this.
No, but
but
when you look at
want to
this,
just get to the
other
specifics.
presidents, when they leave, they take the papers. They have thousands and thousands. Obama had it. Nixon had it. Carter had
Their
it. The
argument
Bushes
is that
had
these
it.
are super sensitive national security documents.
I'm sure you'll see real super sensitive that Biden has, because Biden has far more than anybody's ever kept.
And he turned them over when asked.
No, he
but-
didn't.
but
He
that's
still
what he
hasn't given
says.
the 1,850 boxes that's stored at the University of Delaware. In fact, they're fighting them in court, and they're fighting.
I don't believe they are, actually. I'm pretty sure Biden fully complied with the FBI.
Them. And
But he
the
opened up
boxes,
for them to look at it.
excuse me, the boxes from Chinatown, he didn't turn them over. He sent them up to his lawyer in Boston to look at before they handed them over.
And their special counsel is looking at that.
This is another process crime?
How
Nah.
the Trump thinks declassifying documents works.
Nah, this isn't another process crime. We literally have him on tape talking about how the documents aren't declassified, and yet he's on tape that he consented to being recorded on, saying that he shouldn't be showing this to people, and doing it anyway to people without clearance. Again, if any of that is true, if any of that is substantiated in court, he's done so, and that's not a process crime. If he did in fact show people war plans to invade Iran, if he did indeed have nuclear secrets from that rightfully belonged in the hands of the US government, this isn't a process crime. We've literally executed people for half of that. Like, for infringements half as severe. The US government has actually executed people for that. We're gonna have to listen to Kid Rock in court. Avalon of Babylon? Yep.
And we'll see what comes out of it. But I do want to just end with this. I don't want to dwell on it. But according to the indictment, you were here at Bedminster on July 21st, 2021, after you're no longer president, and you were recorded saying that you had a document detailing a plan of attack on another country that was prepared by the U.S. military for you when you were president, the Iran attack plan.
Presidents can share classified info when they are president. Once they are no longer president, they do not have the clearance to share classified info, or the clearance or ability to declassify previously classified info. This has always been how it works. The president of the United States can't just be like yeeted out of office and then be like, well, I know all of the United States nuclear secrets, now time to go talk about it with everybody. No. Doesn't work that way. Sorry. For obvious reasons, it doesn't work that way.
Remember that.
Ready?
You were recorded.
It wasn't a document.
Okay.
I had lots.
How dumb is Donnie Boy? Literally every former president has complied with NARA and FBI requests to hand over documents. Donald Trump is the only one in U.S. history to not do that. And in fact, he's also the only U.S. president in history to allegedly also hide documents after they were requested, deliberately to hide them from the FBI and NARA. So, again, majority of voters see this as political. The majority of voters also don't pay attention to politics all that much. I do this professionally, actually, and as somebody who's gone over the entire indictment, if they are able to substantiate even half of that in court, he's going to spend the rest of his life in prison, bare minimum. A crime against National Archives. No. It's not a crime against the National Archives. It's a crime against the Espionage Act. It's a crime of stealing the most classified information on Earth and then disseminating said information to people who weren't supposed to have it. And it's serious because that type of information in the wrong hands could literally start wars. That's why it's serious, and that's why he's going to get the entire ass book thrown at him. Yeah, the 1917 Espionage Act. Yeah, yeah. This is gonna be peach time. Peach. This is gonna blow your mind. The Constitution was written like a couple hundred years ago, a lot longer ago than the 1917 Espionage Act, and we still follow that, don't we?
Lots of paper. I had copies of newspaper articles. I had copies of magazines.
I know. This is specifically a quote. You're quoted on the recording.
Yeah, the appropriate comparison would be to Julius and Ethel Rosenberg, who were publicly hung and executed by the U.S. government for crimes under the 1917 Espionage Act. You advocating for using the Espionage Act? You know, I might be a bit on the conservative end of things when it comes to when one should apply the 1917 Espionage Act. But I think that if someone deliberately hides nuclear state secrets from the U.S. government and isn't supposed to have that information in their hands, and also has battle plans to invade foreign countries that are real and could actually cause wars in the world, yeah, I think that actually falls pretty clearly under the Espionage Act, and yeah, should be prosecuted to the fullest possible extent. Yeah. Do you know the history of the Espionage Act? Yes, typically used to execute people who stole U.S. state secrets, particularly around nuclear weapons programs, which Donald Trump also did. Multiple documents in his possession were about nuclear programs under the U.S. control. So yes, actually.
Saying the document was secret, adding that you could have declassified it while you were president, but, quote, now I can't. You know this is still secret, highly confidential. And the indictment cites the recording and the testimony from people in the room saying you showed it to people there that day. So you say on this on tape,
it says just the opposit,
that you can't declassify it. So why have it?
When I said that I couldn't declassify it now, that's because I wasn't president. I never made any bones about that. When I'm not president, I can't declassify.
And that's what you said. You didn't declassify it.
I said no. I said I couldn't. But that wasn't a document, Brett. There was no document. That was a massive amount of papers and everything else talking about Iran and other things.
You also have several witnesses in the room that contradict this, Mr. Former President.
And it may have been held up or may not, but that was not a document. I didn't have a document per se. There was nothing to declassify. These were newspaper stories, magazine stories, and articles.
I'm just saying what the indictment says.
Well,
the recording and the people in the room who testified.
These people are very dishonest people. They're thugs. They're thugs. If you look at what they've done to other people, what they've done to and overturned in the U.S. Supreme Court, these are thugs.
The suggestion was that you wanted this as evidence that the military, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs, General Milley, had preemptively sent you plans for a possible attack on Iran, and that you didn't order that to happen. That's the suggestion.
I never ordered it to happen, no.
But that's why you wanted the document.
I don't think I've ever seen a document from Milley.
Maybe
Milley, frankly,
Catalina
was incompetent. The last one I'd want to attack with as my leader would be Milley. That I can tell you.
All right, last thing on
that.
this. There are 31 documents listed. Nuclear capabilities of foreign countries, related to military
nuclear secrets,
capabilities of foreign countries, intelligence briefings on foreign countries.
And again, if they aren't able to substantiate these claims in court, then Trump is off scot-free. That's fine. That's how our legal system works. If they are, though, he should absolutely spend the rest of his life in prison. Yeah, 100%.
Countries. Why do you want to hold on to those documents after you're president?
I don't say I do.
You just didn't know what was in the boxes?
With NARA giving them back. All of a sudden we've got raided, which is a violation of my, Fourth Amendment rights. They raided my home and they came and they took things. We would
they had a warrant, sir. It turns out the government can actually search your home while pursuing a warrant. That is actually a thing they can do legally.
Discussing this with NARA. Look at Obama.
How many fake narratives? It's literally been a consistent narrative. The only one changing their narrative constantly is Donald Trump.
Look at Clinton. Clinton took documents. Clinton took tapes in his socks.
Interviews
and you know
with
what
the
happened?
historian.
The Clinton socks case.
I do know it well.
And it basically said the president has every right to keep whatever he wants, and that includes me.
And the question
This
is whether
was not a criminal case. Let me tell
highly
you.
I don't think that also includes nuclear state secrets that you are not at all authorized to have.
classified government national security documents fall in that category, and that battle is going to be fought in the courts.
It's already been fought.
All right.
There's a decision strongly that you can keep. But I wouldn't have kept, but they raided my house. They came in and raided. We were discussing, having very good discussions with NARA, a radical left group, by the way, and all of a sudden my house got raided.
Do you know if you still have any highly sensitive government documents?
No, I don't have anything, no.
Okay.
But what I'm going to say...
I don't care if Trump colluded with Russia. I don't care if the dossier is real. What I care about in this particular case is whether or not Donald Trump attempted to hide nuclear state secrets from the U.S. government, and it's looking increasingly likely that he did. I do care about that. And I think that if he stole nuclear secrets that he wasn't supposed to have, he, along with any other American who did the same, should be thrown in prison.
Concerned about, they took everything, right? I don't know what they took. They could be stuffing it. I don't know what they put in there.
Oh, Donald Trump's not a part of the club. Donald Trump's literally the former president of the United States and the current leader of the Republican Party. What crack are you smoking to think that he's not a part of like a powerful political club? Get your head out of your ass.
And we wanted to be there when they were taking. They wouldn't let anybody in the room. They've never treated a president like this.
And that's fair for you to point out. I guess what this points to is this recording where you said you could have declassified it when you were president. You didn't.
No,
so
I
it's
could
still
have
classified.
when I was president, but there's no document there. Those were newspaper articles.
Okay.
They were copies of articles and magazines. There was no document there. And I couldn't have done it after I was out.
This is what you said in 2016 about handling this.
In my administration, I'm going to enforce all laws concerning the protection of classified information. No one will be above the law. We also need to fight this battle by collecting...
Except me, folks. Except me. No one will be above the law unless it's very convenient for me at such a time to be above the law.
Intelligence and then protecting our classified secrets. We can't have someone in the Oval Office who doesn't understand the meaning of the word confidential or classified.
Your Vice President Mike Pence says he's, quote, deeply troubled by what's in the indictment. And he says, quote, the indictment contains serious charges and I cannot defend what's illegal.
You're anti-war, but you're in favor of Donald Trump waiving battle plans to invade Iran in front of like completely unqualified goons? Yeah, okay, sure. 100%.
Mike Pence had documents that were classified.
And he turned them over.
No, he didn't turn them over. He got caught. His lawyers found some documents, and then he turned them.
Wait. He didn't... If his lawyers found the documents, he didn't get caught. What are you talking about?
Over.
Jesus.
Why did he have them? He shouldn't be saying that because he had classified documents. And immediately they said, oh, that's okay. And I suppose it's going to be okay with Biden, too, even though he has them in Chinatown, even though he has them in Delaware, and probably 100 times more than I have.
So you're not worried about this case?
Based on the law, zero. Zero. Presidential Records Act, plus the Clinton case, which was won by Clinton as president because he took tapes of leaders in his socks.
Yeah. We had peace under Donald Trump, except that Donald Trump did more drone strikes than Obama did. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Sure. You live in your little conservative bubble. You should be more concerned about that, I think.
Zero.
Okay.
Zero. And every good lawyer has said it, and you've seen that. Every good lawyer has said that.
Obviously, there are others who push back. And
this was a weaponization of politics. This was a weaponization of the White House. This was a horrible thing. A candidate that's leading, I'm leading Biden by a lot. They go out and they weaponize. This is a horrible thing that was done.
Well, let's talk about the politics.
It's never been done.
Let's talk about the politics. You're facing obviously a number of potential charges in other cases, and I know you've said that you believe that they're political witch hunts.
Of course.
But what do you say to the voter who really liked many of your policies?
They still do.
But they can't handle the scandals or the controversies or the name calling or the vitriol. What do you say to that voter who's worried that that all leads to a general election loss?
So based on the polls, I'm leading Biden by a lot. Based on the polls, I'm leading all of the Republicans by a lot, by 40 points and more. Right now, I have the best polls I've ever had. People see this stuff for what it is. It's a political witch hunt. It's a continuation.
Political witch hunt.
Independent voters watch Fox News than any other TV source.
A lot less than used to watch it.
They do watch. Those voters usually make up all the difference in the election. And so to the female independent voter in the suburbs who struggled with family financing because of inflation, she's now against Biden, disapproves of Biden, but wasn't with you in 2020 and so far is a hard no for you in 2024. But what do you say to that?
Looking at the right polls.
What do you say to that female independent suburban voter who feels that way, to win her back?
First of all, I won in 2020 by a lot, okay? Let's get that straight. I won in 2020.
You know that this,
and if you look at all of the tapes, if you look at everything that you want to look at, you take...
Yo, he's so defensive. He's so upset. Man, he's off his game, chat. He's off his fucking game.
a look at Truth to Vote, where they have people stuffing the ballot boxes on tapes, or
Mr. President,
let's
that
go
was
to
all
recent.
looked
Well,
into.
wait a minute. Let's go to recent. FBI Twitter. Let's go to recent. The 51 agents, all corrupt stuff, Brett.
Understand about the Hunter Biden,
No, but
all
that's cheating
fair
on the
things.
election.
But
that's
it's all-
cheating on the election.
It's all corrupt. They're out to get me. They're out to get me, folks. It's all corrupt.
the 2020 election.
Brett, you take a look at all of the stuffed ballots. You take a look at all of the things, including things like the 51 intelligence agents.
There were recounts in all of the swing states. There was not significant widespread
We're trying
fraud.
to get recounts, real
There were
recounts, not just numbers of
investigations,
votes
widespread
cast.
corruption. There was not a sense of that. There were lawsuits, more than 50 of them, by your lawyers, some in front of
Ready?
judges that you appointed.
Look at Wisconsin.
That came out with no evidence.
Wisconsin has practically admitted it was rigged. Other states are doing the same right now, and it's continuing.
There have been
It was
reviews
a
of
rigged
every
election.
potential case of voter fraud in 6 battleground states, and they found fewer than 475 cases.
You know why?
that
Because
was
they
not
didn't
affected.
look at the right things.
Okay,
Brett.
are you going
they
to
were
be-
counting? They were counting
look at the right
ballots,
things,
not
Brett.
the authenticity of the ballot. The ballots were fake.
See, this is why Donald Trump is really effective at what he does. Like, he just always has like an off-the-cuff answer for like any unexpected contingency. Oh yeah, they counted the ballots, but they didn't count the authenticity of the ballots, did they, folks? Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that actually, like, what does that translate to realistically? The answer is it doesn't translate to anything. You know, like, what you think the government should do background checks on every citizen who votes in an election? That's fucking crazy.
Fake ballots. You had this was a very rigged election.
Yeah, but Peach, the issue is you misunderstand the nature of DC's corruption, right? The corruption isn't being done by like shadowy groups. It's being done in broad daylight by lobbyists. The lobbying industry funnels billions of dollars into DC every year, and it's just like that's legal. We legalized the corruption, and it's done in public. And it's done equally by both sides. And when Donald Trump said he was going to drain the swamp, he didn't do anything about the actual issue of corruption. Not because they wouldn't let him, but because he doesn't actually give a shit about money and power corrupting politics.
going to go, this is how you're going to tell that independent suburban woman voter
No,
to vote for
we're
you?
off to winning an election, and I think we're winning very well. I got a poll just recently. I have it here.
I know. And I watched the numbers.
I've shown you every poll. I showed you we were leading by tremendous numbers, and we're leading with women, huh?
You know polls change. I mean, they changed in 2016 to your favor.
I thought I was doing well from the beginning, but you know.
But they changed, the polls. What did you learn from your first term that you took from, and changes that you would make if you get elected?
I would like to be less combative, but I find the press is extremely dishonest. And if I'm not combative, I don't get my word across. If I'm not combative, I don't know, I don't think you could win. I think, regardless me or somebody else, if somebody else got the nomination, these radical left maniacs would come after them at a level like you've never seen before, and they're not going to be able to withstand it. Our country is sick. It's sick. We have people that will do anything, and it's a very sad thing, like the document hoax. They should have never been brought. We're in the middle of a political campaign, and they want to arrest the opponent who's leading the person that's, in theory, in charge of government. This stuff shouldn't happen.
So what changes would you make?
Strong people, strong government. You know, when I came...
Yeah, lobbying is done out in the open. Yeah. There's nothing secret about our lobbying outside of, like, super PAC money.
Down to Washington. I was in Washington 7.
But you know who really pushed for super PAC money, though? It was conservatives.
17 times in my life in D.C. And I never stayed overnight. I was never there. I didn't know the people. I didn't know that world, other than I was involved in politics from the other side very much. And I put great people in, but I put some people like Bill Baer and Bolton and a few of them that, you know, actually Bolton was good because every time I negotiated, people said, oh, they've got this maniac here. He's going to go to war with us, and they'd concede every point. I mean, it was actually pretty good in a certain way. But we put people in that were great, and we put people in that weren't. I now know Washington probably better than anybody. I know the good ones and the bad ones, and we will have really great, strong people. I already know who they are, but we will have really great, strong people.
Okay. In 2016, you said that. I'm going to surround myself with only the best and most serious people.
Well, I did do that.
This
and we
time,
had tremendous, look, we had the best economy we've ever had. The world has ever seen.
Your Vice President, Mike Pence, is running against you.
Yeah.
Your Ambassador to the United Nations, Nikki Haley, she's running against you. Your former Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, said he's not supporting you. You mentioned National Security Advisor John Bolton. He's not supporting you either. You mentioned Attorney General Bill Barr, says you shouldn't be president again, calls you the constant...
And for what? You are describing the outcomes of our lobbyist-driven political system. Something that Donald Trump is very much in favor of, actually. Oh, God.
Narcissist and troubled man. You recently called and Barr a gutless pig. Your second defense secretary is not supporting you, called you irresponsible. This week, you and your White House called your White House Chief of Staff, John Kelly, weak and ineffective and born with a very small brain. You called your acting White House Chief of Staff, Mick Mulvaney, a born loser. You called your first Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson, dumb as a rock, and your first Defense Secretary, James Mattis, the world's most overrated general. You called your White House Press Secretary, Kayleigh Canadian, milquetoast, and multiple times you've referred to your Transportation Secretary, Elaine.
Donald Trump here is just nodding along. Yes, that is correct. Very small brains. They all have small brains, folks.
Chow as Mitch McConnell's China-loving wife. So, why did you hire all of them in the first place?
Because I hired 10 to 1 that were fantastic. We had a great economy. We had phenomenal people in charge of the economy. We had phenomenal people in the military. I'm not a fan of Milley, and I'm not a fan of certain of the television people. But I knocked out ISIS. I defeated ISIS. They said, Mattis, it would take 3 years, and I don't think we can do it. I did it in a period of like 4 weeks.
There's a lot of people who praise you for your policies. I just said that.
That's true. Well, I mean, you just went through a list. But don't forget, for every one you say, I had 10 that love us. And one thing happens, I find, with me that I think didn't happen so much with other presidents. Call it glamorous time, call it whatever. But with me, the Times, the Washington Post, various people, even Fox, because, you know, I'm no great fan of Fox anymore. They fought me. They fought me very hard. Well, you got to get your word out somehow, right? They fought me very hard in 2016, very much the way they're fighting me now, very, very hard. And I won. Then they became very nice. But I will tell you that something happens when people leave. They can like me very much. I have this woman named Alyssa Farah. She said the greatest things. Long after she left, he's the greatest president we've ever had. He was unbelievable, unbelievable. Then The View offered her a contract. But obviously,
oh my God, he's
only
about
if
to
she
complain
changed
about
her
The View.
views, and all of a sudden she can say negative things. Money gets offered to people, and some people change.
But I will
say
people on
this,
that list that are not taking money that decided that they're
well,
not
for the most
supporting
part,
you.
they are. You know, Baer did a book. Baer was a coward. The name people that you name, for every person you name, I can name 20 people that loved the administration. And maybe more importantly, the voters love the administration. The voters are dying to get back to it, Brett. The voters are tired of being laughed at all over the world. We're run by a fool. We're run by a man that doesn't have a clue.
I want to talk about foreign policy, but just to leave this, you have former senior advisor Steve Cortes saying it's going to be tough for you to get the best and the brightest because of some of the name calling of people who left.
Well,
so
again,
what do you say to that?
Cortez is a nice person, but I didn't give him the job he wanted because I didn't think he was qualified. Then he went over to the sanctimonious's camp. I didn't give him the job. So I'd probably say the same kind of thing if I wouldn't get a job, if somebody wants a job. And a lot of the people that you mentioned there, they didn't get the job. A couple of them weren't made permanent.
job,
I didn't want to
folks.
make them permanent because I didn't think they were good enough. Now, during the course of that 4 years, I know the best people. Remember this. We took out ISIS. We developed Space Force. I rebuilt the military. I got the largest tax cuts in history.
Man, he keeps talking about Space Force, and like, I can't believe he keeps. Usually Trump is really good at reading the room, so it's just really weird to me that he keeps talking about Space Force. You know,
I got the largest regulation cuts in history. I did right to try so that people don't have to die without a chance. We could use space age medical knowledge, and we have the greatest labs in the world. I did all of these things and much, much more. Nobody's ever seen it like that. One other thing, Russia would have never invaded Ukraine. China would never be talking about even the concept.
based on what? Based on what, you dipshit?
Of going into Taiwan. Would have never happened. I was getting out of Afghanistan.
China's been looking to do that since the inception of Taiwan. What are you talking about?
We would have gotten out through dignity and strength. Instead, it was the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. These are all great things, and people want them back.
Mr. President, stand by if you would. Please join us after this break for the second part of the interview tonight.
And we're on. Oh, wait. Never mind.
Welcome back to Bedminster and Special Report, joined again by the 45th President of the United States.
We do not support Taiwan independence.
Secretary of State Anthony Blinken met with Chinese President Xi Jinping in Beijing. You've been very critical towards Biden administration policy toward China. Today, Blinken said this: "We do not support Taiwan independence." Should Taiwan be independent?
So if I tell you an answer, it's going to hurt me in negotiations on the assumption that I win. But I have a very good relationship with President Xi. After COVID came in, I sort of didn't want the relationship, and I sort of ended the relationship after having made one of the greatest trade deals ever made, including USMCA, Mexico, Canada. But I made deals with Japan, I made deals with many countries. We had the worst trade deals, now we have the best trade deals. By the way, USMCA, Canada, and Mexico, it's so good because we replaced NAFTA, which everybody said, you even said, be impossible to end it. I got it terminated by Congress, actually, and got USMCA. It's so good now that Mexico and Canada, well, it's a long time ago, but Mexico and Canada, it's so good they want to renegotiate the deal. I hope they don't do that. I hope we don't agree to that. But I made the best trade deal with China, $50 billion a year, where they have to buy from us. I got $28 billion from China to give to our farmers because our farmers were treated badly.
So would you keep the China tariffs on?
I would keep the China tariffs.
What would take them off?
No, I'd keep them on, absolutely. It's a tremendous power thing. You keep them on. China was dying over the tariffs. They were I took in hundreds of billions of dollars from China. No other president has ever taken 10 cents. I watched Gordon Chang the other night say the only one that was tough on China, so tough that frankly he couldn't believe it, was Donald Trump.
So the question is, would you, if China invaded Taiwan, would you go to war to defend Taiwan?
I don't want to say that because that hurts me in negotiations with regard to...
We literally have a defensive alliance with Taiwan. Like, what do you mean, would we go to war? You're just like, it would hurt me in negotiations. Like, what negotiations? Negotiations to end our diplomatic arrangement with Taiwan? What?
President Xi. Now, he knows what I do. And by the way, for 4 years, they didn't invade Taiwan, and they never even talked about it. You'll find very few discussions about it. And for 4 years, Russia never even thought about it because Putin and I had a very good relationship, business relationship, but I got along with him and he got along with me despite the phony Russia witch hunt, which made it much more difficult. Having that phony Adam Schiff, Hillary Clinton witch hunt for 2.5 years going on made it much more difficult. Despite that, he knew he could not go into Ukraine. I told him very strongly, you can't do it. And if you do it, it's going to be a problem. And he never did.
I want to talk about Ukraine, but just to end on China, this weekend, President Biden, speaking of that Chinese spy balloon, said this.
I think it was more embarrassing than it was intentional.
What do you think about that?
I think it's such a stupid
What would you have
statement.
done?
He doesn't know what he's... They wouldn't have ever had a spy balloon if I was president. There wouldn't be a spy balloon over our country.
They would
That
never use
balloon
spy
was going
balloons,
right over our
folks.
nuclear sites, taking pictures. And we killed it after it had already... It was leaving. It was going back home to China, wherever it was going. But we shot it down over the ocean after it had done all of its work. You know, they don't keep it on the balloon and then you pick it up. That stuff is sent back to China instantaneously as it's taken. So a statement like that is so stupid. They've taken pictures of every one of our nuclear facilities in the Midwest where we have a lot.
Oh, wow. Weird. Now he's interested in in the security of our nuclear secrets, huh? Yeah, that's so weird how that works out.
Where they know better than anybody that we have a lot.
And you're saying that wouldn't happen under you?
They wouldn't have ever done it, no. They wouldn't have ever done it, no. President Xi and I had a very strong relationship, just like I did with Kim Jong-un of North Korea. Look, when I took office, everyone assumed we were going to war with North Korea, including President Obama. He said, the single biggest problem we have in the world today is North Korea. I said, have you called him? And I got sort of a mixed answer. The answer is he did call, but Kim Jong-un wouldn't see them. Okay?
Have you ever tried calling him?
Okay, tough guy, smart guy, tough guy.
God damn it.
I got along with him, and there was no threat. I did an amazing job. That would have been a war. If Obama would have stayed, or if Hillary Clinton would have been in a little bit longer, if they would have extended his term miraculously, but if Hillary Clinton would have gone, you would have had a nuclear war with North Korea. And by the way, you're possibly very close right now. This is the most dangerous time in the history of our country. You're possibly very close to having a nuclear war with Russia.
All right, let's talk about Russia. You said you would end the Russia-Ukraine war in 24 hours.
Right.
Your GOP opponents, well, they don't believe that. Former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie said this. Despite how ridiculous that is to say, I suspect he would try to do it by turning Ukraine over to Putin and Russia. How would you do that?
Okay, ready? Number one, Chris Christie, who I know very well, he got out of New Jersey after the Bridgegate scandal, which was a mess. He got out of New Jersey with a 9% approval rating, and most people say it was less than that, okay? No, he wouldn't be the right guy to do it, but I am. I got along with Zelensky very well because he came up with the impeachment hoax #1. He come up, you know what he said? No, I wasn't threatened at all. I don't even know what you're talking about. When they said, were you threatened by President Trump? He was very good. He could have grandstanded and said, well, I felt a little bit threatened. No, he wasn't threatened at all. And he said it very loud and clear. Got along with him very well. I respected him for that. Because frankly, he could have done a grandstand and, you know, maybe look good, maybe look bad. I don't know, but he could have done something different. He said, I was never threatened. That was a very nice conversation. I called him up to congratulate him. And with Putin, I have a very good relationship. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in a long while, but I had a very strong relationship with Putin.
But was he wrong to invade Ukraine?
He wouldn't have done it if it were me.
But
He
it was the
did
wrong
that
move.
after I left. I thought he might do it. Look, I talked to him. I said, if you do it, there's going to be hell to pay. It's going to be a catastrophe. Don't do it. He said, no, 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 you won't do that. I told him I was going to do something. He said, no, 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 you will not do that. I said, I will, Vladimir, I will do it. I'm going to do it.
I'll do it, so
And
help
you know
me
what?
God.
He didn't believe me. Whatever. It was pretty bad. And he didn't believe me at all, except for maybe 10%. And 10% is all you needed. There was no threat. It was only after I left that you started hearing about this.
But you believe
I will
Ukraine
tell
is
you,
a separate country from Russia.
yeah, right, it's a separate country,
so
but at
should
one
Putin-
point it wasn't a separate
Right. Should
country.
Putin
and
have
and
Crimea?
Putin liked it that way
Is
better.
that part of the deal? Should Putin get Crimea?
Well,
Is that
right,
what you?
Right now, I don't talk about those deals because it really would impede a negotiation. But I'm telling you, within 24 hours, that's what I did. I became very rich by doing deals. Very.
You see, I alone can save you, chat. Now, sure, you might have heard that I alone can fix it from many other authoritarian dictators, but I promise you, chat, I promise, I'll give back my power as soon as I'm done fixing everything. With
very
my
rich.
secret
and
plan.
You know what? Much more so than people even understand. And that's what I do. I would have a deal done in 24 hours from the time we started. And I would tell Zelensky something, and I would tell Putin something, and I'd get him into a room, and I'd tell him again and again. I would have a deal done very quickly. And you know what? The death would stop, and the destruction would stop. Because look, Ukraine has been wiped out.
Under your administration, the U.S. did not go to war.
Right. First time in 78 years.
Can you see a scenario where you would go to war if Iran, for example, got a nuclear weapon?
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, we would have had a great deal with Iran. I was getting very close to Iran. We would have had a deal done with Iran within 2 weeks after the election. They wouldn't have had a nuclear weapon, and they would have been very happy. Everybody would have been happy. I terminated that horrible thing called the Iran nuclear deal, one of the dumbest deals I've ever seen. I've seen some dumb ones. NAFTA was bad. They were all bad. The dumbest one was the Iran nuclear deal, where billions of dollars in cash was brought over to Iran in Boeing 757s and just handed billions.
Billions
Cash, green, I mean green cash. Remember one thing about that deal, it expired in a short period of time. You know, it expired. And that gave them an open road to having nuclear weapons. You know, people thought like this Iran nuclear deal that was done by Obama was like a big deal. It was so terrible. But remember this, it expired in just about now. It expired. And once it expired, they had the right to do anything. I terminated that deal, was on my way to making an unbelievable deal where they don't have nuclear weapons. The other thing I think, doing very well with China and Russia, getting rid of nuclear weapons. I was making a lot of progress on that until the election.
And you think that's all gone away?
I think it can come back, but it certainly went away quickly.
One of the people,
because
one of the
this current
countries.
administration doesn't have the capability to do it. They don't have the capability to do it. They don't have a clue. The Chinese, very smart. This is a very smart country. They own us. Until I came along, they just owned every president, including presidents that I liked. But remember this, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars. I put a 50% tax on a tariff on, tax or tariff, you can call it either one, but I put a tariff on steel. If I didn't do that, you wouldn't have any steel mills. If I didn't do that, you wouldn't have washing machines in the
Yes, all of the steel mills would be gone. Yep,
United States being made anymore.
One of the countries that's very concerned, obviously, about Iran and its nuclear ambitions is Saudi Arabia.
Sure.
What do you make of the Biden administration policy?
Can I just say I love your Trump impression? Makes him sound like a greasy, yucky goblin. You're welcome, folks.
To Saudi Arabia.
I think it's terrible. We've lost Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, they're friends of mine. They're great people. The Crown Prince.
The Saudi Arabians, the great folks. Sure, the Crown Prince might have held some people hostages, you know, in their hotels, but you know, he's a great guy. Loves to laugh. Great family man.
And the king, I got along with them incredibly good. They would do anything. They are great, great people. But they've actually gone over to China now, if you think about it.
If you
think about it. It was even unthinkable. If somebody suggested it during my administration, nobody would take it even seriously. Saudi Arabia's really gone over to China. China's protecting them now. We have lost Saudi Arabia. Biden goes over and does a fist pump with the king. Now he's the king, the future king of Saudi Arabia. You know what a fist pump is? Don't touch my hands because they're dirty. So he tells him, don't touch my hands because your hands are dirty. Let's do a fist pump. And he does a fist pump. Do you know how insulted they were by that?
Oh God, the fake outrage over fist bumping Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. God damn, dude.
Look, we have people that are stupid running our country. This is the most dangerous time in the history, in my opinion, in the history of our country, in the history of the world, because of the power of weaponry. This is the most unbelievably dangerous time because of nuclear weapons and other things, by the way. We have incompetent people running our country in the most dangerous time. Now, little articles come out, little articles just like two sentences long, that they spotted Russia sending nuclear weapons to Belarus. Little article, like 2 sentences. I said, that's a big thing. See, that's a big thing. That's so big. Can't allow that to happen. That's so big.
So what would you have done?
What's going to happen? He
So
wouldn't have done it with
folks.
me. Putin wouldn't have done it with me, but that's the difference. Hard to explain that to people. You know, you can do more if you have the right president by phone calls and quick meetings than you can by having all these so-called geniuses all over the place that don't know what they're doing.
On Saudi Arabia, what do you say to the critics who say you're too close to them, that you're getting a lot of money from live golf, playing at your golf courses, and that there are billions of dollars of investment with your son-in-law Jared Kushner and daughter Ivanka? What do you say to that?
So I say proudly that I'm the only president. I expected I'd lose $1 billion or $2 billion. It's probably more than that by being president. I lost billions of dollars by not doing deals in Saudi Arabia. I could have done hotels in Saudi Arabia. I could have done hotels in the Middle East. They offered me, I turned down one deal for $2 billion, net, nothing to do, just use the name Trump.
Interesting that he mentions $2 billion, which is exactly the amount that Jared Kushner received for seemingly no reason from the Saudi Arabian government. That's actually curious. That's like you admitting to some crimes there, bud?
Trump and build your job and this and that. I would have $2 billion. I turned it down because I said it was inappropriate for us to do it. I told my kids, who are good kids, and they're working kids, they're not scam artists. I told Don and Eric, we don't want to do any deals, and Ivanka. I don't want to do any deals. I just don't want to we got a lot of stuff. Just run it properly like this. Run it properly. I don't want to do deals because any deal I do is going to be perceived as being in conflict. Then all of a sudden I start to see the stuff that Biden's done, where he's going around scamming every country. He goes to a country and then millions of dollars shows up into accounts. And these aren't deals. This is cash coming in. And here's the most disappointing thing. The press doesn't want to cover it. Jamie Comer and Jim Jordan and that whole group, they're doing an incredible job. You take a look at the amount of writing done on the millions and millions of dollars coming out of China and other countries like, Ukraine, into the Biden family. And in all fairness to Fox, other than you, there's basically nobody that reports on it.
Why is his voice getting higher? Because he's getting more and more distressed as the interview goes on.
Did you just praise Fox?
I did. I gave you a good little.
Thank you. Yeah, we have been covering that.
No, you do cover it. No, I give you.
Would you want Jared and Ivanka to serve in a second administration?
No, I said that's enough for the family. You know why? It's too painful for the family. My family's been through hell. I mean,
it's too painful, folks.
Eric, my son, who's a fine boy, you know him very well. He's a fine young man, good student, good everything. Comes in, we're doing beautifully. Then I decide to run for president. I mean, I don't think anybody in the world in history has ever had more subpoenas sent to them. Nobody has been through what my family has been through. Ivanka had a really successful line of clothing. I mean, making a fortune. When I did this, she closed it up. She sort of felt she had to, but she closed it up. My other boys were doing great. And I said, instead of let's take advantage of being president, I mean, some people would say that's stupid because everyone else has done it. Nancy Pelosi is worth $125 million, I read, and she never got paid more than $150,000 a year. How does that happen? How does that happen?
Yeah, you want to go
It's called lobbying, Donald.
through this all again.
Because I want to make America great again. We had it great. We had it great. We were respected all over the world. Very simple. I want to make America great again.
We will have the other half of our interview with former President Trump. He talks about his prescription for the U.S. economy, his assessment of his opponents in the GOP, criminal justice reform.
We got some China here. Some good old China. Some foreign policy about China. There we go. Hi, folks. How we doing? How we doing? Listen to you for a million, clown. How we doing? Also, chat. I just realized that my chat preview wasn't working correctly, so I wasn't being kept up with your comments. Folks, are you enjoying stream? Would you like to be on screen here? Well, you can come on over to riverboat.gg. We've been streaming for about 2 hours now, and if you're enjoying the show, please do come on over to riverboat.gg and consider dropping some subs and donos, because that is primarily what allows me to live, and I really, really appreciate your support. Come on over here. And we are 9 subs away from switching over to Star Trek. So, 9 subs. I think we can do it. Let's go. Part 2 of this interview coming right up. Oh, and please do hit the like button on the stream over on YouTube and hit the subscribe button over on YouTube as well. We are currently at 1,700 subscribers on YouTube. It has been just an absolute cock tease of a time trying to get up to that number. We've been like oscillating like a couple up and down like every day. So finally hitting 1,700 feels good. Thank you all for helping us get there. Now let's make it 1,800. Let's keep on upping those numbers. Let's get up to I don't know, maybe like 2K, maybe 2K. Let's get up to 2K. Let's go. Number go up. It's true. We also have a bunch of good videos on Andrew Tate and Donald Trump up right now, so please go check it out. There's a real article on the Post-Millennial reporting what now? My dad ruined my day, but I'm doing all right. What about you? I had a very similar experience the other day. What's the difference between oscillating and vacillating? I don't know. Here we go! Also, support your local riverboat Jack. Make sure she's properly watered and fed.
At his summer home in Bedminster, New Jersey. Let's talk about the economy. Would your policies roughly be similar to your first term as far as taxes, regulation?
Yeah, and I do even more taxes. Don't forget, we took in more money after I gave tax cuts than we did before I did them. People said, how did that happen? I did things, for instance, in the tax bill, foreign big companies like Apple and many others. Apple in particular, because he brought in a lot of money. They were taxed to death if they had $5 billion sitting in other countries outside where they made money in other countries like in Europe and Asia. They would take the money and they would leave it there because there was no way of getting it back. I have a clause in there, you're allowed to bring it back at a fairly low tax rate. Everybody brought it back. I mean, trillions of dollars came back into our country all of a sudden. And it was like an explosion. Apple took in, I think, $400 billion they brought back. 400 billion. They brought back, they were bringing back the rest. Maybe they've already brought it back. And you know, it's very interesting with Biden. They haven't been able to hurt the Trump tax cuts because the people won't stand for it. They won't stand for it. But those tax cuts gave us, I think, two things, the tax cuts and the regulation cuts. I actually think the regulation cuts were more important. You know, we had the greatest economy in the history of our country. I think the regulation cuts were actually more important than the tax cuts. But I did the biggest tax cuts in the history of our country, bigger than the Reagan tax cuts, and the biggest regulation cuts in the history of our country.
And business people will agree with that. They do have concerns that costs something. The U.S. added $8 trillion to the national debt under your administration, about $3.5 trillion before COVID. Much of that time you had a Republican Congress. So if voters are concerned about the debt, why should they believe you'll address the debt in another term?
I love the question, because we had to fix a country. When I took this country over, it was broken. And we created a machine. And the oil was starting. We were energy independent. We were within 4 months of energy dominance. We were going to be supplying all of the natural gas and oil to Europe, all of it as far as I was concerned. Remember, I was the one that stopped Putin from building his pipeline. I got it stopped. When Biden came in, he approved it. I said, this guy just approved it. Goes to Germany and other parts of Europe. I said, this is a disaster, because that means that, remember when I gave Angela the white flag of surrender? She said, what does that mean, Donald? I said, that means you're going to surrender because you are...
Wait, did he say the red flag of surrender? What?
...reliant on Russia for your energy. So when I did this deal, when I did all of this, what was going to happen with our country, we were rocking and rolling at a level. We close to filled up the national reserves, which Biden let out to keep gasoline prices down for an election, which is supposed to be used for war. It's not supposed to be used for that. But I filled up 75 million barrels of oil I bought when oil was really cheap. I made a great 75 million barrels of oil when oil was cheap. But here's the thing. We were going, and we were now set. The infrastructure was there. The oil guys were there. We were going to make so much money as a country. You look at Saudi Arabia. You look at the wealth that they built. We have more oil than they do. I got Anwar approved in Alaska. It's as big or bigger than Saudi Arabia. The first day of the Biden administration, they terminated the deal. Reagan tried to do Anwar. He was unsuccessful doing it. Bush tried. Everybody tried to do it, all for years and years, for 60 years. I got it done. It was all done. They're getting ready to drill, and Biden ended it. Brett, we were going to make so much money. Now everything was set. Then we got the COVID. COVID came in, our gift from China, and we had to do other things.
You believe that?
No, I don't. I believe that it came in from Wuhan. I said that. If you go back, you'll see I was the one that said it came in from the Wuhan labs from day one. I was told a lot of things like don't close up the country in terms of China. I did, and it was a tremendous, I saved hundreds of thousands of lives. I believe it was incompetence, actually. You know, there's two thoughts. They did it. There's another thought. I was so tough on China, they did it to get me out. But I did better on the election.
You don't believe that part?
I don't believe that. No, I don't. I actually think they were just incompetent.
So it is a big part of that spending, COVID. Do you have regrets about how you handled that? Because some of your opponents are now running these loops of where you say you shut down the country.
We had to artificially close our country. We did just the right thing. We closed it down. We understood the disease. We closed the country down. We studied it. We learned about it.
Some people wish we never closed it down. We did the right thing. Everything we did was right.
And do you have regrets about doing that?
I gave the governors the options. For instance, Henry McMaster of South Carolina, governor, great guy, great governor. He didn't shut it down. Tennessee didn't shut it down. South Dakota didn't shut it down. Georgia shut it down for a little while, but not much. They did a good job. 6 states that didn't shut down. It's a federalist system. I told all governors, you do what you want. You can shut it down or not. Florida, by the way, he shut it down tight. No highways, no beaches, no this.
But then pushed back pretty hard. He opened up. But is it fair to criticize him on that? Sure. He was credited for how Florida dealt with COVID.
Because he has better PR than other governors, but other governors did a better job than Ron DeSanctimonious. So
Ron DeSanctimonious.
Because I got him elected. And I thought it was very disloyal when
LB!
he said, yes, I'd run. I got him past 2 races. I got him
Going
past the primary because he was losing by 30 points or more.
So it's a loyalty question?
Yeah, it's a loyalty. I'm a big loyalist. You know, some people right here in this room have told me, sir, don't worry about loyalty. Loyalty doesn't mean anything in politics. I said, to me, it does. I got the guy elected. He came to see me, let's say weeping. because he was dead. He was getting out of the race. He was looking for jobs already, probably at law firms or wherever he's going to look. He was totally dead. He ran a horrible campaign. He was running against Adam Putnam, the agriculture commissioner, who was running for that position for 8 years. Yeah. Putnam had $38 million bank. Ron had nothing, zero. Putnam was at 40%. Ron was at 3%. It was like a wipeout. The election was going to be very soon. I said, you're dead. If George Washington endorsed you, you're not going to win. He said, sir, if you endorse me, I think I could win. And he fought for me along with Jim Jordan and hundreds of other people, in all fairness. He was fine, but he fought. But I would see him every once in a while fighting on the impeachment hoax. So I didn't know Adam Putnam. So I said, let's give it a shot. I endorsed him, and it was like a bomb went off. As soon as I endorsed him, he won the primary. It was over. He won by a landslide. But then I had him to get him past Gillum, who was a rock star. He was going to be the next president of the United States. He was the biggest guy in the party. Him and female version, Stacey Abrams, right?
Female version,
these are the two hottest
Stacey
politicians in the
Abrams.
Democrat Party. And Ron said, there's no way I can beat him. I said, you're going to beat him. I did 3 rallies.
God bless you. Thank you so much.
We had big, massive rallies for Ron, 3 of them.
Big,
I said, you're going to win.
massive
He ended up winning. He ended
rally.
up winning by a tight race.
Hey, Archangel, how you
then
doing?
3 years later, they say to him, then I didn't deal with it. I didn't know him that well. 3 years later, but I got him elected. But I did that with other people, too. But, you know what, just out of respect. So I said, 3 years later, they asked him, are you going to run against the president? He said, I have no comment. I said, no comment. No comment means he's going to run. I said, this guy's going to run. And he was dead as a doornail. He wasn't like, I didn't help him 90%. I helped him 100%. Some I do and some I help. But this guy was dead politically. And for him to then say, I'm going to run against the guy that got me into office, and I didn't need that because I took a lot of heat. I had a lot of friends that were on the other side of that one. I took big heat on that. It's not that easy to do.
One was a leader, and one let us down.
So when your PAC is running ads against him, and actually it adds up to more money than you spent supporting GOP candidates in 2022.
I supported a lot of candidates.
I know, but your tally so far on the PAC running ads against DeSantis is more than that support. So why do it? I mean, do you see him as the biggest threat?
Well, he's the number 2 right now, yeah. I mean, you know, at some place he could be replaced. The way he's going right now, he's dropping like a rock. He could be number 3, number 4, and you won't ever hear me talking about him again. I like fighting number 2. If you're in a golf match and you got one guy that's close and other guys that aren't so close, but he's not close. I'm leading him by 45 or 50 points.
Last thing on COVID. In your mind, did the COVID vaccine work?
It's such an interesting question because not only that, I also did the regeneration.
You're killing me here, Brett. You're killing me. Did the COVID vaccine work? It's such an interesting question. I mean, I helped develop the vaccine, so of course it works great. But also, my fans really hate it, so it works very bad. So the solution here is that when I was in office, the vaccine worked great, and then Biden came along and ruined a perfectly good thing. I feel like that's where this is going.
Regenerons of the world, you know, we did a tremendous job on that. But we had a vaccine. Now you have different COVIDs. You had COVID-19 and then you have different COVIDs. But we had original was COVID-19, which was the roughest one. So I have a Democrat friend who's very smart. Hopefully he votes for me, but he's very smart. He said, I don't understand one thing about you. I watch your rallies. They're incredible. You talk about beating ISIS. You talk about taxes. You talk about regulation. You talk about everything. But you never said that. I've never heard you talk about how the incredible job you did with the vaccines, because as you know, I got them done in 9 months, and it was supposed to take anywhere from 5 to 12 years. I broke their ass, okay? And you know who doesn't like me too much? The FDA. Because they were very bureaucratic, and I got it done.
I broke their ass.
You may have saved in the world, throughout the world, 100 million people, and you never talk about it. I said, I really don't want to talk about it because as a Republican, it's not a great thing to talk about because for some reason, it's just not.
For some reason?
Yeah, for some reason, because people love the vaccines and people hate the vaccines.
People love them.
Conservatives aren't. And I understand both sides of it, by the way. I understand both sides very well. What I didn't do is the mandates. The mandates and the vaccines don't go And you had these governors mandating.
Well, you did it with
and
the
by
Defense
the way,
Department.
Ron DeSantis.
The Pentagon did.
Ron DeSantis had lines of people trying to get the vaccine. He set up whole things. You know, when I never saw a guy that could forget the past so quickly, because the past wasn't that long ago. Ron DeSantis literally had people lined up trying to get the vaccine. All the things that he said. For instance, Ron DeSantis loved Fauci.
Sure, but you didn't fire him. You listened to him.
Well, he's a civil service for it. You're not actually allowed to fire him, but I wouldn't let that usually get in my way. You know, it's one of those things. But I never spent a lot of time with Fauci.
I would never let something like a law get in the way of me doing something. Am I right, Brett?
Who did is Biden. Fauci became very powerful under Biden. Remember, Fauci was the one that said, don't close it to China. I closed it to China. Fauci, believe it or not, was totally anti-mask, and then he became a radical masker. But on the vaccines,
Radical masker?
So the mandates are horrible, and I was always against the mandates. But really on the vaccines, I let the governors make their decisions. But you have a lot of people that love the vaccines. I mean, you do. They happen
love
to be
them,
more
folks.
Democrat than they are Republican.
That's why I asked the question.
But you have a lot of people. There are people that say I saved 100 million lives. I don't even talk about it.
Up next,
I
more
don't
with the
even
former
talk about it,
president.
Brett.
He wants to get tough with drug dealers.
If you want to get rid of it, now, I don't know that this country is ready for it. I just don't know. You know, every time I say it, I sort of like, it's not easy to say the death penalty.
It's not easy to say, folks. The death penalty.
Now, for more of our interview with former President Trump, we begin this section with his thoughts on law and order and drug policy. On law and order, you have said you'd be in favor of the death penalty for drug dealers.
Yeah.
Still the case?
Yeah, it's the only way you're going to stop it. Look, we can be babies and we can have blue ribbon committees. I had my great First Lady, beautiful wife, Melania, who says hello. She was in charge of a committee, a blue ribbon committee of socialites and various other people that want to be on a committee. And they worked very hard. And by the way, had an impact. You know, we brought it down 18%, but 18% is not 100%. When I was in China, I met with President Xi, 1.4 billion people. I said, do you have a drug problem? No, 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 no. I do not have a drug problem. I said, why do you say that is? Because we immediately give a quick trial and a death penalty to drug dealers. And if you go to Singapore, rich, everything else, they had a huge drug problem. Zero drug problem. If you want to get rid of it, now, I don't know that this country is ready for it.
Yeah, no, he's legitimately saying that it would work out really well for us if we just executed drug dealers.
I just don't know. You know, every time I say it, I sort of like, it's not easy to say the death penalty, but remember this. A drug dealer, male or female drug dealer, plenty of female drug dealers too, a drug dealer will kill approximately 500 people during the course of his or her life.
So you were a big proponent of the First Step Act, the criminal justice reform. You even ran an ad during the Super Bowl about it.
With gratitude, I want to thank President Donald John Trump.
Critics of that law point out that 13,500 people have been released. About 12% of them have committed serious crimes after that. Joel Francisco was serving a life sentence for selling crack cocaine. He was released in 2019, alleged stabbing.
His name is Joe Francisco? That sounds like a comic book name. Like, I don't know, the updated name of Joe Cool or something like that.
A man to death, rearrested. Paul Moore, drug trafficker, fatally shot a rival, received a reduced sentence. So there are those, and your opponents are hitting on this.
Yeah, but I focused on nonviolent crime. As an example, a woman who you know very well was in jail. She had 24 more years to serve. She served for 22 years. She had 20.
Alice Johnson.
Alice.
She was in the Super Bowl.
High quality, yeah.
High quality woman, folks.
And she was on a telephone call, and they were involved in selling marijuana, mostly marijuana. And she got like 50 years in jail.
But she'd be killed under your plan.
Huh?
As a drug dealer?
No. Under that? It would depend on the severity. It would depend on the severity.
Yeah, would depend on the severity, and the severity of the case that you are currently complaining about is that she did not deserve it, but she got 50 years in prison, which may not. I don't know. Maybe that should indicate something to you. Maybe that should indicate that by proposing the death penalty, like, she would have otherwise been executed. Do your plan? God damn it, guys.
She's technically a former drug dealer. She had multi-million-dollar cocaine ring.
Any drug dealer, look.
So even Alice Johnson in that ad.
She can't do it, okay? By the way, if that was
so you would execute her.
There? No, she wouldn't be killed. It would start as of now, so you wouldn't go to the death.
No. See, Brett, we have this thing called linear time. And we wouldn't be going backwards in time, Brett. I'm a very smart man, Brett, but I didn't invent a time machine.
No, but your policy.
No, Brett. No, starting now, yeah. But she
Starting
wouldn't have done it
now.
if it was death penalty. In other words, if it was death penalty, she wouldn't have been on that phone call. She wouldn't have been a dealer. Now, she wasn't much of a dealer because she was sort of like, I mean, honestly, she got treated terribly. She was treated sort of like I get treated. But Brett, she was treated
like me,
very unfairly.
really.
But she got 48 years, and that was bad. Now, today, if I did what I say that you have to do, and again, I'm not sure the country's ready for it. You know, China was hugely, 150 years ago, China was taken over by much lesser countries because they were all drugged out on the opium and all the problems.
It's a communist regime. They dropped the hammer.
They were all drugged out, and they were...
My guy... my guy over here... referencing the Opium Wars, when that time Britain got the entire country of China hooked on opium in order to control it. God damn it.
Totally, they were a disaster. They were taken over by other smaller countries, large sections of China.
By other folks,
and then things happened, and they had strong leadership, and they put in the death penalty, and they've been able to build. But if you speak to President Xi, he will tell you, without the death penalty, we would have a non-functioning country.
My point is that you're getting hit from the right for being soft on crime because of the First Step Act. And then you're saying that would be your policy. Mark Short, the Vice President's Chief of Staff, said this weekend.
One of the most unseemly parts of the end of our administration was the pardons that Donald Trump gave to cocaine traffickers, to family members, to people guilty of violent crimes.
What do you say to that?
Because I looked at individual things, and I had committees doing this much more than me, and they would look at things, and sometimes people, even when there's a violent crime, very few violent crimes, because I didn't want to take chances on that, right? But they would look at people and they would recommend to me, do it or not. I turned down 50 for everyone I pardoned. But sometimes you would see something that normally you wouldn't do, and you do it on recommendation of a very good committee. We had a very good committee, a very capable committee. But if you want to stop drugs in this country, which, by the way, cause, I would say, 50–60% of the crime.
And add fentanyl in there, yeah.
Especially when you add, the fentanyl is a disaster. One thing about fentanyl, so I was with President Xi, and we had a deal worked out. He was going to give the death penalty to anybody in China that made fentanyl. He was going to call it a criminal act, and he was all set to do it. Then again, we had the election. That's the end of that. They would not have been sending fentanyl. They send it right through Mexico, comes right through the border. But, right now, 12 times more drugs come through the border than came through when I was president. Now, Brett, one thing. If you want to stop drugs, there's only one way you're going to stop them: the death penalty for dealers.
Former President Trump on January 6, 2021 Capitol riot, the investigation by the special counsel into that, and more after a quick break. Are you, about what you did and didn't do, worried about where this is headed at all? You said that you would pardon perhaps the rioters. Now more from our interview with former President Trump. January 6th, obviously you're facing the special counsel investigation. Are you worried about any of that? The criticism about what you did and didn't do that day? Your communications at all?
So I gave many, in my speech, you know, my speech has been reviewed by every lawyer that's reviewed it, said it was a perfectly normal speech. You ever hear Maxine Waters hit him in the face and hit him here and hit? My speech was an elegant speech. It was a very, Lindsey Graham said about my speech, that's maybe the softest speech I've ever heard you make. It's very interesting. I said, peacefully and patriotically, be peaceful, be patriotic. But even more than the speech, I put out statements. Now, 2 of those statements were on Twitter. And as soon as I put them out, they terminated me. And the reason they terminated me, I've heard, is because those statements were so good. They were beautiful statements. Go home. Don't do this. Go home, et cetera, et cetera. 2 things interesting about that day. Number 1, they never show the pictures of the actual rally where I made the speech. All they do is show the Capitol with maybe 1,000 people. It was the largest crowd that I've ever spoken before, and some people say it was way over 1 million people. But it was the largest crowd that I've ever spoken before.
People
Nobody
are
ever
saying,
shows it.
folks.
But I'm talking about January 6th, that day. Are you, about what you did and didn't do, worried about where this is headed at all? You said that you would pardon perhaps the rioters.
Yeah,
Would
sure.
you also pardon the people who were convicted of assaulting officers?
Well, you also have, no, we'd look at individual cases, but many of those people are very innocent people. They did nothing wrong. In Portland, where they killed people and they've destroyed a city, I mean, the place it's all boarded up. They destroyed, nothing happened to them. In Seattle, where they took over 20% of the city, nothing happened to them. And these people, many of them, soldiers and policemen and firemen and teachers and doctors, these people, nobody's ever seen anything like it. This is like a third world. We're being run now like a third world country.
You've suggested you may skip the early Republican primary debates, the first being in August in Milwaukee. You still in that mindset?
I like to debate. I mean, I probably am here because of debates. I don't mind it at all. But
I love debating,
when you're 40
folks.
points
You know
up,
me.
and you're
I'm a
running
little
against,
scared.
and even one came out today that you saw 51 points up. Why would I let Ada Hutchinson, I call him Ada because, you know, his name's Asa, but I call him Ada for whatever reason.
Why is that?
He needs. I think he's weak.
Okay.
I think he's ineffective. But why?
It's a very sensible. It's a very, very sensible nickname. I think he's weak, so I call him Ada. You know, it just makes sense. Don't think about it. It makes sense.
Why would I let him, Chris Christie, who's got nothing going except I could be tougher on Trump. He's not tougher on anybody. He's a slub. But why would I let these people take shots at me? In other words, hey, Ronald Reagan had primaries. They all had primaries. I had one last time. And Biden, he's got somebody at 21%. I just saw a number, 21%. JFK Jr., who's a very nice person. I know him very well.
Did he just say JFK Jr.? Wait.
I had one last time. And Biden, he's got somebody at 21%. I just saw a number, 21%. JFK Jr., who's a very nice person.
Yo, he's QAnon posting, chat. He's doing the QAnon posting. Oh shit, dude. He's QAnon posting. Did he mean RFK? Yeah. But you know what? You know what the QAnon folks think? Ah, I clicked the wrong button. The QAnon people think that JFK Jr. is still alive and has been masterminding a plot behind the scenes to eliminate the deep state. And yeah, he faked his death, Erica. He faked in the QAnon conspiracy. It basically goes that JFK Jr. faked his death and has been orchestrating a many decades-long plot to oust the deep state and the evil Jewish cabals that run the United States. That is real. I am not fucking with you guys. They think that is the case. So Donald Trump, to the people in this QAnon conspiracy theory, They think that Donald Trump is working hand in hand with JFK Jr. in order to facilitate JFK Jr.'s return to public life and ascension to the presidency. So, yeah. Oh, to be clear, they're not talking about JFK. They're talking about JFK Jr., his son.
And I know him very well. He's a very, very fine person. He's at 21%.
But DNC's not going to do any debates. He won't
they're
agree
not
to
gonna
them.
do it, but the
So what does it
question is-
mean if the two
question
front runners
is-
for the White House, you and President Biden, duck the debate stage?
Oh, no, we have to debate.
That makes total sense, yeah, right?
Oh, yeah, we have to. He and I have to definitely debate. That's what I love.
We have to.
But the two of us have to debate.
Just wait. The sound clips from this are amazing.
Duck the debate stage.
Oh, no, we have to debate. No.
Primaries.
Oh, yeah, we have to. He and I have to definitely debate. That's what I love. But
we have to debate. That's what I love. Like, what? Whoa, dude. Whoa.
the two of us have to debate as the two even if the polls are.
So you haven't made your definitive decision on the primary?
No, I haven't, but I do say, why would I allow a hostile network, Fox? You know, pretty hostile. Why would I allow...
You get a fair shake.
Okay, but I mean, this is a fair interview, but it's hostile. It's on the hostile side. I wouldn't say it's a puff piece, but that's okay. Hey, Brett, why would I allow a hostile network and then allow people that are polling at zero? They're polling at zero, many of these guys. One of them is zero with an arrow left. Now, I think that's a mistake. In other words, a zero, that's less than zero. Christie's like at 1% or less. Many of them, Nikki Haley's at 2%. She hasn't caught on because everyone knows she's, you know, highly overrated. You know, I put Nikki there because I like the governor, the lieutenant governor of South Carolina. And Henry McMaster has turned out to be a great, great governor.
That's why you put her in the position for the UN?
I got two for the price of one. I put her over there, but much more important to me, because Henry McMaster was great, always great, and people love him in South Carolina, and I got him to be governor of South Carolina. That was a very big thing to me, and I put her in that other position. But look, Nikki is very low. They're all very low. So why would I allow people
Very
at 1%
low
and 2%
energy.
and 0% to be hitting me with questions all night? You know, I don't think it's fair.
Does any of this ever get to you? Are you ever exhausted by it?
I almost don't have time to be exhausted. I should be exhausted. Many people have asked, how do you take it? And I think genetically, it's like,
Genetically.
whether it's an athlete or something else.
Because you've been under fire, in the spotlight for a long
I've been
time.
under fire from the time I came down the escalator. Maybe before that. If you look at the whole hoax, it started when my name was first announced, and I did well on the poll right from day one. You know, when I came down, that first day, I went to number one of the poll, and I never came back. As a Republican, I was center stage every single debate, and we had a lot of them. But I was center stage every single, and by the way, I didn't do one debate because I thought Fox was treating me very unfairly. You know, you do remember that?
I know,
That
I
debate
remember
didn't
it.
do too well either. But why, and I would love to debate in one way, but in another way I say, why would I debate allowing people that are polling at zero, have no votes, have no popularity, shouldn't be there, they're wasting everyone's time and they know it. Why would I allow them to ask me questions? And
Well, I'm going to ask this question, the final question. Christine sent an Instagram post, and she asked, how is Melania handling all of this?
she is a woman of great dignity and beauty and style. She is a very popular First Lady, although a lot of people might not know that one way or the other. When I make speeches, we're starting the rallies now very soon, and when I make speeches, we have 50,000, 75,000 people, 25,000, 20,000. We have massive crowds, biggest ever in the history. There's never been anything like it. So many signs are where we love our First Lady. The people love Melania. She's a very confident person. She feels I'm being very badly mistreated. And she says, you go ahead and you do whatever you want to do because I'm with you 100%.
So Melania and Baer fully in.
They're great. They're great.
Mr. President, do you think you were fairly treated today?
I don't know. A couple of questions could have been done without, but that's okay. I enjoyed it.
We really appreciate your time.
Goddamn, dude. Well, chat, we did it. We did it, folks. We managed to make it through the entire interview. It's done. We saw Donald Trump Admit to no crimes. Everything's fine. Honka honka. His breath just faded out perfectly into an ad around. Yeah. Homer Simpson sleeps nude in an oxygen sheet that he believes gives him sexual powers. I don't know what that means. How we doing, folks? I'm hungry, I'm dirty, I admitted to crime, everything's fine. Jack, it's a reference to an episode? Okay. There. Yeah. Hi. Doug? You know, I gave you supper this morning and you haven't eaten it. Why not? What's your deal? You have supper. If you're poking me because you're hungry, you have it. You have the food. You have the ability to sustain yourself. So much work to do, but I don't want to do it. Oh. How we doing, folks? Send love to the morning dove. How many people do we have here? What's the doggo's name? Her name is Samus. Oh, we actually have over 100 people watching. Hot diggity damn. Could be better? Yeah. Hi. Good dog. Spent the majority of today being my mom's emotional baggage handler. Otherwise, I'm great. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just spent $1,200 on plane tickets for me and kiddo. Yo, let's go, Nindreen. Love dogs. I walk dogs for a living. Oh. Yeah. You could do with more walks. I'm always so busy. Okay, you go lay down. Down. Shoop. 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 Also, chat. We are 9 subs away from Star Trek. If you guys can do it this stream, we will watch it at the beginning of next stream, which might be tomorrow. Because as you know, Thursdays have been known to come before Fridays. Why are friendships hard? Because human beings are hard. Smuggy face. A slightly more positive note, after a couple of decades of self-reflection, I did finally figure out that I am, in fact, a queer duck. Very knifey duck, congratulations! Welcome to the rainbow family. Been dealing with some gender stuff lately, not sure how I'm going to bring that subject up with therapy, if I even have words to describe it, but we'll see. Well, best of luck, Spitfire. Do 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 do. Yeah, learning that you're queer can be extraordinarily hard, but I think overall very beneficial, you know? Helps you make sense of yourself. Boop, 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 boo, boo. Oh, my jaw cracked. Ow. Ooh. I need to do jaw exercises. I always keep my jaw too tight. It's not good. Not good for my bones. My aged bones. It's been a while, but I'm putting myself back on the dating scene, but this will be the first time going out with other men, so I'm a bit nervous. My only piece of advice is listen to your gut. If things are being sussy, don't put up with being treated less than you deserve. And also, make sure you're safe, okay? And also, not only make sure that you yourself are safe, but, like, you know, like, make sure that, like, they're treating you the way you deserve. I guess I said it well enough already. Boop, 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 boo-doo. Also, best of luck. Told my bestie and her reaction was, yeah, no shit, congrats on figuring it out though. Aw, that's what besties are for. To tell you you've been a dumbass the entire time. Ooh. Supreme Court ruled that water is not a necessary thing for indigenous tribes. Sounds about white. God damn it. God damn Supreme Court. I like that over like the last couple of days, several of you have come out, and it really warms my heart that this place can be a safe space for people to experiment with their identity, you know? I'm proud of you guys. And I'm proud of all of us as just like a community, you know? Jack's community is pretty awesome. You guys are pretty awesome, you know? You are the community. You're the ones who make it awesome. I'm just kind of here. Both my siblings came out because of exposing them to people like you. Oh, that's so cool, fact. Hell yeah. I'm trans, male to female, and bi. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. I'm still very confused personally. My gender shit threw a wrench into my sexuality. Yeah, it does tend to do that in the most irritating of ways. Also, folks, we're wrapping down stream in about 10-ish minutes, we'll be wrapping up the stream. So if you guys want to watch Star Trek on our next stream, now's the time to make that happen. Already? Yeah, I'm keeping it short today. I figured a smooth 3-hour-long stream would do it for today. That's about what I had in the tank. Have a good one. We're not done yet. I said 10 minutes from now. Making me yell at chat again. 3 hours is a good length. Smuggy face. Koopa Shell, I too hope that we get to watch Star Trek next time. That would be pretty terrific. Ba 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 da ba ba ba. Ba ba da da ba da ba 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 da da ba da 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 da. Also somewhat bratty service bottom, so life is complicated. True. Life and bottoming. Very complicated. True. True. I don't like Star Trek, but I thought you liked the Star Trek we were watching. The Star Trek-ass Star Trek. Galaxy Quest is goated. It's true. It's true. Pirates of the Caribbean. When you think about it, Star Trek is basically Pirates of the Caribbean, but in space. Bum bum ba. Ba ba da ba ba ba. Ba da ba. You're not feeling great? Must lay down? Yo, get some ibuprofen. Have a good one, Nindreen. Get good rest, okay? Ba da ba. Ba ba da da ba da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da da. Da da da. Da 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 da. Bo bo bo. Ba da ba da ba bo. Ba da da ba da 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 da. Da 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 da. Da da da. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. What do you think of the live-action One Piece? I haven't seen the trailer, but the actors they got. You know what? Let's do a quick trailer react. Why not? You guys want to know what I think? Let's put on our nerd hats. Am I going to see the new Indiana Jones? Probably not until I see a lot of reviews. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is on an extremely short list of films I've actively heckled in a movie theater. Here. Oh, okay. This one, and then we had one more I wanted to look at. Crystal Skull was so bad it's camp. Nah. The campy bits are fun, but the campy bits are also hidden in like a bad movie, you know? Like it's not fun bad, Have you seen the trailers for From? The FX show that's already out? But it's Indiana Jones, but the first 3 Indiana Jones movies were camp. Crystal Skull was just bad. I mean, the best bits of Crystal Skull were the bits that embraced the campiness of the original. Like, I know everyone fucking complains about Indiana Jones surviving a nuclear test in, like, a lead-lined refrigerator, but, like, that's one of the best parts of the movie. That entire sequence was great, actually. The entire opening of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull was wonderful. It was really good, actually. I liked it a lot. And then the rest of the movie sucked ass. I don't know, maybe since there's a new movie being made, maybe someone can just edit most of Kingdom of the Crystal Skull down and make it like a 2-part feature. Top men. Part-time. Very knifey duck. I see you too. I'll watch Red Letter Media. There was one more trailer I wanted to check out. Oh, yeah. What was the movie that I wanted to look up? It was a movie trailer. It was coming out soon. Ah, yes. Okay. We got a couple different things to look at from Netflix, and then we'll head out, okay? So you have until we react to 3 different trailers to make those donos for Star Trek chat. You guys ready? Was it Wonka? No, Wonka's gonna be terrible. There's no way Wonka is gonna be good. This is how Willy Wonka met and enslaved the Oompa Loompas. Like, holy shit, dude. Alright, here we go. This is the trailer for One Piece. An anime that I do... Oh, yeah, do you guys not know this? Hey, Tungsten Wastrel. Thanks for popping into YouTube chat. So there's they're making a prequel to Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory starring Timothy Chalamet. About Willy Wonka journeying to exotic lands and then meeting and enslaving the Oompa Loompas to work at his chocolate factories. Yep. Yep. That's the thing that's happening. Yep. Okay. I don't know anything about One Piece except that there was a really big time pirate who hid all of his treasure in One Piece. And it's about a spunky little guy who gets cursed by a fruit, and he then sails the 7 seas to like find the One Piece treasure. There we go. Let's go. Let's see what's in store here.
ever since I was a kid. The sea's been calling. So, I'm setting out to follow my dreams. I'm gonna be king of the pirates. All I need is a loyal crew. And I think together we'd make a pretty good team. We're heading up to the Grand Line.
A treacherous stretch of ocean with bigger islands and bigger pirates. Careful with that.
I don't work for you. I'm sensing a little bit of tension amongst the crew.
Not a crew.
We haven't sailed together for very long, but I know we've got each other's backs. All great fighters call out their finishing moves.
No, they don't.
Okay, that looks fun. It also looks like it's gonna be bad. But you know what? It looks like it will be fun bad. I'ma watch that. It looks like it's gonna be fun and campy in the right way. Pirates of the Caribbean ripoff? Shut the fuck up. Is Nami supposed to sound like she can't act? Probably not. Did they learn nothing from Cowboy Bebop or Death Note? I feel like Cowboy Bebop learned from Death Note. Cowboy Bebop at least looked right. Wait, okay. Now there's just a weird additional 20 seconds at the end of the trailer. Okay. Additionally, now this is something a lot of you might not be very excited for. I'm pretty excited for it. This is also on Netflix. And it's a trailer for something called The Three Body Problem. Which, for those of you who don't know, it's basically one of the biggest sci-fi properties of recent times. Okay? And I'm real excited about it. So I haven't seen the trailer yet. Let's go.
As children, we fear the dark. Anything might be out there. The unknown troubles us. There are those who say we should not inquire too closely into who else might be living in that darkness. Better not to know. But we continue to search. Life looks for life.
Yo, it looks so good. It looks good though. Yeah, so basically, like 10 years ago or so, a book came out called The Three Body Problem in China. It's a Chinese novel series, and the series is called Remembrance of Earth's Past, and yeah, it's supposed to be real good, you know? Ezra Miller needs to just not for a bit. Wait, was Ezra Miller in that? But why are you guys talking about Ezra Miller? Oh, okay, cool. Okay, I'm glad. I was like, wait, Ezra Miller's in this? No. Um. But yeah, basically there's like a massive how do I even really like sum it up? Um Basically it's an alternate history of Earth, where the Chinese government had a secret program to use high-powered radio waves to destroy satellites. And essentially that program attracted the attention of another alien species. Um and it's so cool what happens after that. Yeah, don't long story short, chat, if the Dark Forest hypothesis is correct, attracting the attention of aliens is not a good thing. The aliens, it turns out, are not cool. Yeah, they're particularly not cool, actually. And two others from Game of Thrones 2. There's gonna be a lot of like crossover with like some of the Game of Thrones cast, I think. Yeah, it's kind of cool. A lot of people do compare it with Dune One Hand Wonder, and it's cool that like something like that came out in our lifetimes, you know? And finally, chat, we have one last thing to look at. Here we go. Zero out of 10, too short. A logo! Yeah, they're doing an Avatar The Last Airbender show on Netflix, I believe. Yeah, it's a live action series. We'll see if it's any good, I guess. But also, like, a lot of the CGI they use for like these anime adaptations is not they're not sending their best, you know. Already angry about One Piece, so they better not fail. I mean, no promises. Well, folks, we needed 9 more subs in order to get Star Trek for next stream. And looks like we haven't done it. Ozai is Dr. Ham, by the way. They're really doubling down on ideas that were bad the first time. I'm all for second chances, but yikes. I mean, I, for one, am excited about 3 Body Problem. And also, frankly, like, they did release, like, a promotional image with this teaser. It looks better. Like, I don't know. It's not like it's not perfect or anything, but like this looks right. You know? Was more worried about anime to live action stuff. I don't know the 3 Body Problem well. Definitely worth picking up. They certainly drew an arrow well. I mean, you know what? The bar is low, Kamikaze. The bar is really, really low. Ozai is Dr. Han. Do we have Zuko images? Yeah, we do. Here. Here's the cast we have. I think the casting is pretty goddamn good, actually. Exactly, Avalon of Babylon. The casting looks good. Well, yeah, the bar for Avatar: The Last Airbender is super, super high, but like every attempted adaptation prior to this has been bad. Toph is the least ableist disabled character ever made, and I say that as a severely disabled person. Sokka looks extremely himbo. It's great. It's not on the wrong side. It's true. They got it. Look. They got it on the right side of his face. They did it. Mission accomplished. All right, folks. I need to take off, but I love you all very much. And if anyone wants to be a last-minute hero and save us with a 9 sub or equivalent dono, actually, I didn't take into account 2 things. Sorry, 7 subs. Feel free to do so. Ooh, my back. But good night, y'all, and We're gonna raid into Map Bender. How about that? We'll raid into Map Bender. Y'all have a good one. Get good sleep, drink plenty of water, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.